welcome to episode 6 of PodQuest, the video gaming show that once used the Force to microwave a burrito.
I like it. I like it.
Well, we didn't have any lightsabers around, we just had to use the Force.
Yeah.
So it was delicious.
It was good.
It
Burnt my top of my mouth.
appealing.
Full of those little delicious creatures we saw last night.
Delicious porgs.
Delicious porgs. Put some porg and some pierogies.
Porgritos.
Porgritos. Nice.
I'm your host, Player 1, Dustin Lyon. With me today, as usual, is...
Player 2, Kelsy Polnick.
Player 3, Paul English.
How are we doing, guys? We all did go see Star Wars last night, so we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. But, Kelsy, how's your week this week?
It's good. I got to see Star Wars this week, so it's a good week.
You got to see Star Wars? You got to finally see the Avengers trailer?
I did. Got a little bit of sleep before this, so I'm feeling prepared to talk.
Big news. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My sleep's exciting.
How about you, Paul?
Yeah, it was a week, you know. New Star Wars, Battlefront 2.
It was alright.
DLC came out for free. Phasma and Finn you didn't have to pay for, which I thought was...
Burning back a little goodwill they lost.
Yeah. The what I played of the new campaign edition is a little lazy. I was telling you guys last night that like the first proper level, you play through the level, and then you get to the end of it, and then you just play through the level the same way you came. So I'm a little sour, but
You think
when
that's
am I
because
not?
they just, like, we got to meet the Last Jedi release, so maybe they rushed that out, you think?
Yeah, I feel that, yeah. And the new multiplayer map is based on something seen in the trailers and is like a big battle set piece in the movie, and it's a very lazy map because it's just flat.
Yeah, like, it looked cool in
But-
the movie, but it doesn't seem like a fun video game level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that when we talk about...
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
dive deep into the Star
Yeah.
Wars discussion.
Mhm.
My week was pretty good, too.
Dustin, how was your week?
It was pretty good. It's busy at work like usual, but you know I'm coming up to a week off here pretty soon, so that'll be a good time to
Christmas
No.
break.
nice little Christmas break.
Nice.
Before we go any further,
Sure.
we will be spoiling this movie fully at the end of this video. Before that, we will be doing a non-spoiler review. So just so everybody knows, there will be Star Wars: The Last Jedi
Mhm.
spoilers.
We
We'll
will
put a
give
time code in.
Yeah,
the
we will
comments,
give
right? Or in
we
the
will give
description.
any viewer or any listener enough time to know when the spoiler's coming up to let you veer away from it and give you a little time code to jump ahead past the spoiler stuff. So,
Perfect.
how about games this week? How about Kels?
I haven't had a whole ton of game time this week. It was a busy week. We had a lot of meetings, and like kids had vaccinations and school projects and Christmas plays and stuff like that. So instead of video games, my son's actually been really eager to try D&D. So we've been building character sheets the last couple days, and we're pretty well ready to go. So today or tomorrow, we'll start some D&D together, which I'm pretty excited. My wife and son are going to play with me, and neither of them have played before, so it should be pretty interesting.
That's super exciting. If you need a third,
I'll let you know how it goes after we've got the basics down with everybody. I'm sure we can handle another player.
Well,
every
if
once in
you
a while.
need anybody who can shoot magic missiles into the darkness, I'll
You're the
hook you
man?
up with that. I'll hook you up with that.
My son is a human wizard. My wife's going to be a dragonborn paladin, and I'm going to try a rock gnome druid. That's our crew going forward.
Fun.
Yeah, never played a druid before. I'm pretty interested.
who's
try
going
it out.
to run the game?
I'm going to try and do both.
This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so I'm going to unfairly have like animals and nature things everywhere over me because I'm a druid, so
Yeah,
just make my
exactly.
character super overpowered.
Yeah, that won't irritate your son at all.
No.
Paul, games besides, obviously you're doing a lot of Battlefront.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess some PUBG.
I think that's it. Overwatch. Played some Overwatch this week. I haven't done my placement matches for the newest season, so I've been going through those.
Have you bought any of the winter stuff yet?
No, I don't spend money on, like, I won't go out of my way to spend money on crates. I'll just
You
spend
just
them.
wait for the regular unlocks?
Yeah, and I'm usually pretty good at it. Like, if I sit down and grind out the game, I can usually get all the costumes I want. So,
I have to say the Ice Sombra costume looks
yes,
pretty cool.
looks very, very cool. Other than that, there's not a lot that I'm interested in. Like, not a lot of costumes where I'm like, ooh. That was cool. Like the Halloween one had the Cthulhu Zenyatta, which I thought was pretty cool. So I grinded pretty hard to get that one. But that's it for games. Like Kelsey said, we're like ramping up to Christmas here. Kids are out of school officially. A lot of people have started Christmas vacation. In our region, the nights are getting longer, days are getting shorter. So we're running out of time to really do stuff because we're getting to a busy time of year. So once another week passes by, we'll be back to regular gaming schedule. Same bat time. Same
Has
bat channel.
has the PUBG map gotten a little better?
Yes, it actually has. I worry that they're just going to release everything on the test server, never release it on the normal server.
Oh, so it's only on the test server right now.
Yeah, and then they added the original map that has a bunch of updates and vaulting on the test server as well, but they've not added any changes to the server proper. So it's like, this is interesting.
Maybe it's a good thing it didn't get Game of the Year.
Yeah. And this is something I want to talk about in the news, but I'll just blurb it out quickly here. It's running smoother so far. The day that it launched for the Xbox had a lot of problems. The Xbox launch itself, they're getting like 10 to 15 frames per second.
Yeah, I heard it's
Abysmal.
It's abysmal.
And it's like here's the hottest game going. It's gonna run better on the new Xbox. Go buy the new Xbox. I've already had friends text me that have been playing this week. Last night they're like, "Look at this, got myself a new Xbox." I'm like, "Well, I guess it worked. Good for Microsoft." Like it's
so it won't play good on the older Xbox.
And it just released. Like the PC hasn't. Well, it's not even a full release of the game yet. It's like a beta essentially.
Well, it's been in beta for the last 9 months.
Yeah, and now it's on beta on the Xbox. So,
So it does play. It just doesn't play well on the old Xbox.
So like it's really slow and really even on the new Xbox, it's not like optimized the best. So they're saying like, well, the PC's not finished yet, and the PC doesn't run super optimized yet either, and it will, we promise. So give the Xbox some time, and it will be fully.
It should have been ready to go on the beginning.
Yeah, but like they said, like this is a soft release, I guess. Like it's what they've been doing on the PC essentially. Like here's the game, it's not out yet. Give us your money.
Yeah.
So and people are like, yeah, here we go. It's a hot game right now. Like you can't deny how good it is.
Yeah, Microsoft saw that fast and jumped on that real quick.
Yeah. They've also seen a somewhat surprising decline in numbers because of Fortnite. And now the creator, because Fortnite's free, Fortnite on the Xbox runs very well. The creator of PUBG said, I want the gaming industry to take a step back and be more stringent on not letting other people just bang out copies of games and not steal ideas and stuff like that. Whereas PUBG is kind of a stolen idea from other games he's worked on. Like he's
calling the kettle black a bit.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting how this all like unfolds.
I'm in agreement with you shouldn't just like because I saw when Fortnite. Sorry, I obviously haven't played it. When Fortnite came out with the whole, oh hey, we have basically a whole PUBG environment gameplay. I was like, whoa, that was pretty quick, and everything, like all the mechanics of it, with the exception of your building thing that's originally in the game and Fortnite, is all exactly the same as PUBG. They just named them differently.
Yeah.
I was like, that you are just essentially just taking someone's gameplay completely and just rebranding it.
When Fortnite first came out, I don't think it had any plans to be a battle royale. It came out, it was like a tower defense. You and your friends would go into a game, you'd build a base, you'd have traps, and then like waves of aliens and zombies would come. And you'd have to fight them and defeat them. Nobody wanted to play that.
Well, it's because tower defense games have come and gone.
Yeah, and then like 3 weeks later or a month later, they're like, yeah, so we got this new Battle Royale mode in it. And since then, Tom Clancy's Wastelands has come out with a Battle Royale mode as well. So,
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more companies. Like I think Call of Duty's working on one right now or something too, where everyone's just going battle royale mode, and it's just like, come on, guys, come up with something original.
Yeah.
So.
And the sad thing is,
we'll have this phase for a few years, I'm sure.
it won't be as good as Battlegrounds is or potentially could be, and Battlegrounds will never be as good as it should be, because I don't think they're going to finish that game, especially on PC now that like Xbox is out. Like we're going to concentrate on, PC's like a niche market still, kind of, where everybody can afford an Xbox almost. Lots of kids and teenagers have Xboxes. Like dads have Xboxes because they can fit into the budget.
That might be a argumental point, because there's still a lot of people who are just, they have a dedicated gaming computer and that's it. That's all they will ever play on.
Yeah.
While, like I said, there are people who do have Xbox stuff, so they are expanding their market into those people who have Xboxes.
Xbox had like the sales numbers that PlayStation has, I think that would, you'd have more of an argument there. They're just not. They're a little behind this generation.
Here or there, that we're not talking about sales of Xboxes.
I just mean the potential player base is so much smaller than computers.
Yeah. I feel more people that are into a game like PUBG have Xboxes.
I get that feeling too.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely see how this continues. As for me this week,
more Xenoblade?
More Xenoblade 2. As I kind of talked to you a little bit of it last night, I
fixing all the cranes.
Crane fixer.
I still
log jamming.
I want to dive into the game a little more, but there's still certain little things I don't like about the game, including silly little side quests where, as part of the main story, we were trying to get off this island and we had to go build this boat, but the boat needed more parts to be finished. So where did I have to go? The completely opposite end of the continent I was on to go get the parts. Yes, there is a skip travel function, but the area when I went to had like a level 96 creature just going back and forth, guarding the one and only path to the items that you need. I'm like, this is unfair. I'm only level 12. Why are you putting this epic creature in my way that kills me in one hit? Like, you can't even get past it, and then you respawn. You end up back in the beginning of the area that you're in, so you have to walk and run all the way back to where you were. And guess what? The creature's still sitting there, just walking back and forth.
There's a little bit of that in the first one. It sounds like they just kind of copied and pasted that part of the game from the first Xenoblade Chronicles.
You should definitely be thanking the developers, because they're adding like tons of gameplay hours to
that's at least
your
40-hour grind.
That is true.
You got a 100+ hour game now.
But if they didn't have that, you might have beat it in 2 hours faster. Now you have to.
But there's other stuff too where it's they give you so many side quests and stuff where it's like, hey, we need you to go gather this, and you're like, okay, and they mention like, oh, it's available here, but then it's an area that you haven't been to, so you have no idea where it is. It's like, oh, this is in the, I can't remember what it was, like the glacier ponds or what. And I'm like, oh, cool, and I'm like, where are the glacier ponds? I have no idea where this place is.
The first one was like that a lot too, where you had to explore and you didn't get a lot of direction on where you were going. And there were so many secret areas you could find if you did explore, and new side quests and new, I forget what they call them, but there's those little areas where you can get like relationship bonuses.
Right, what were they called? They were like moments or something like that.
But yeah, you really need to explore if you want to do everything in that game. When I played the first one, because I haven't played the second one yet, I did a lot of that stuff for maybe the first quarter that I played the game, and then realized most of it's unnecessary unless I really want to try and 100% this, which I didn't because it's just too expansive for me. And then you can just ignore most of it. Once in a while, you benefit from grinding up a couple levels, doing some exploring, and there's some really beautiful places you can find in that game too.
There's one cool mechanic, but also kind of not liking at the same time. You have one character that you get early on in the game. She's a blade called Poppy, if I'm getting her name right. She's an artificial blade, and how you power her up is by playing a little like vintage arcade game.
Oh, cool!
Like, it looks like very like old school 8-bit style game,
kind of thing.
But
what kind of
the game is super hard. Like even on level 1, is super hard, and it even got to the point where I think it was this week that they were announcing an update to make it easier.
Oh no!
Because there was weird things where it was you'd be diving down.
So what style is this arcade game?
a free falling.
It's hard to explain because it's essentially you're sinking in water and you're kind of maneuvering back and forth, dodging creatures that would swim by in blocks, but you're trying to gather little treasure chests and little crystals as you're going through. But the weird thing is that you can't land on the blocks. They hurt you.
Okay.
And your hitbox is so like big, like there's little treasure chests sitting on top of the blocks. You have to sit there and you have to time it the second that you get the box, and you got last second you got to get out of the box, which I think is weird because the boxes I should just be able just to land on.
It sounds kind of like Frogger, but with perpetual motion, and I just
it's essentially everything that you were swimming into, with the exception of the pickup items, hurts you. And they don't give you any instructions on how to play the game before you get started. It's just like, all right, here you go, and you're like, what am I doing? So
that sounds interesting.
It's really annoying. So, but otherwise, I want to give it some more time, but it's.
How many hours are you in now? Like 4 or 5?
2
playable hours or hours that I let it sit there and play?
Playable hours, not that it's just been sitting on pause while you go to the toilet or something.
4.5 hours maybe.
Okay.
Because like the game says I have an hour of 15 hours, but also because I didn't realize that sometimes when you don't, depending on how you put your Switch to sleep, the game is still running, so it still adds up the hours. I'm like, oh well, that's wonderful. Now I'm up 10 hours when I actually didn't do anything.
Right. Now, I don't know if it's similar to the first one. I feel like you need to give it at least 10 hours to really know if you're gonna want to invest more time than that.
Yeah, I kind of want to do like you just push through the storyline.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna care about the side quests. I just want to keep going through. But I do want to try to unlock Cosmos though.
Yeah. Is she pretty late in the game? Do you know?
I imagine she's pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
So, I've also been trying to play some more Pokemon Ultra Sun, and I'm finding that's kind of hard of a grind too because I'm just essentially playing Pokemon Sun all over again.
Right.
And just like, I've already done all this stuff. Why do I have to redo it again? So it's just like, it's hard to justify to keep going stuff. But you know, if I lie in bed and before I go to bed and play like an hour or so, I can at least keep going through it.
Yeah, those kind of releases to me were not for me because I usually bought the first one, so I would just skip the like re-released extra content ones and wait for the whole next gen. But my son loves restarting games like constantly. Like we don't even finish a game sometimes. And he's like, I'm starting a new file, and I'm like, okay, I don't understand. I got that for him for Christmas.
I can't justify that.
I got him Ultra Moon for Christmas, which I think is gonna be right up his alley because he gets to restart again for like the 10th time probably on Pokemon now, and still get some new stuff. So
has you beat it 10 times?
We got 100% in-game Pokedex one time. I don't think he's ever beat it again since then, but he's started a new file plenty of times since then.
Make sure to put our phones on silence.
One of us is prepared.
But yeah, just trying to play that and play Xenoblade. Haven't really had any time to play anything else yet.
I have a hard time bouncing to role-playing games like that. Because I usually just focus on one game, but once in a while I'll have like one big role-playing game like that, and then maybe a smaller like old retro platform or something. I really can't go back and forth between two big ones like that.
I also do kind of have in the back of my head too that I kind of want to pause on Xenoblade and Pokemon stuff and go back and try to finish Persona 5 because it's still been sitting on my shelf. I haven't touched it for maybe 2.5 months.
Out of those three, I would definitely say.
And I'm probably going to be the opposite of your son, where like I need to at least finish the game once to say that I've done it.
Well, that's the best part about, well, not the best part. One of the great parts about Persona 5, right? Most Persona games is new game pluses are super fun too. So if you do want to start another one, and you have all your social stats right from the start, then you can just like do all the cool things right away.
Go date all the girls.
Exactly. Yeah. Have 10 best girls.
It's a pretty good
I think
RPG.
you'd like it.
Yeah.
3, 4, or 5. I think.
Sure.
We just try and figure out which cast would appeal most to Paul.
That's true.
I think he would really enjoy one of those if we could figure out which one he'd like the most out of those three. Because the mechanics are super deep, super fun. The music's really, really good. The characters are amazing. The story's actually pretty good.
Coming to GameQuest TV sooner than later.
Yeah, 100-part episodes.
Yeah. On that note, we should probably move ahead and get into our news breakdown of the week. Paul, you want to help us out with the first story here regarding the Capcom Cup and Street Fighter
news,
5?
Yeah, big week for Street Fighter. We had Capcom Cup last weekend, which is, I'm going to say, their second biggest event for Street Fighter,
What's bigger, Evo?
Evo, I'd say is bigger, means more to the casual fan.
But is this the biggest just Street Fighter dedicated event though?
Yes.
Because Evo's a bunch of games.
Yes, this game is strictly Street Fighter. It's like Street Fighter's.
Is it invitational only? I can't remember.
You have to win points by going to other tournaments to qualify to play in this tournament. So they have
Gotcha.
32 people that qualify through points. Depending on how many points you have, you're seeded. This is essentially the.
So it's mostly like fan favorite competitors, right? Do you get like a few
It's not-
new players show up
Yeah,
that did well in tournaments?
new player won this year.
Won the whole thing?
Yes.
Wow.
It's not necessarily fan favorites because it's people who play, like a whole crop of new people might come up next year that have never been on the scene and they go
Right.
to all these tournaments and place really well, then they're in.
So-
Infiltration wasn't in it this year.
Oh, when's the last time he hasn't been one? I remember watching him quite a few times.
I can't remember.
Feels like years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So do players have to travel a lot to get enough
Yes.
points?
Yes.
Okay, so it seems like it'd be a pretty expensive hobby.
And a lot of these people are
Can you earn points through online tournaments? You know? No.
and a lot of the people are sponsored.
It's kind of one of the reasons why like I don't justify doing like Pokemon regionals anymore, because I went to that one trip in October,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but like I'm sure those guys spend thousands of dollars
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
all these trips and stuff just to earn points. I'm like, but what's the point of doing all this?
It seems fairly elite. Like it cuts
Yeah.
out a huge player base that can't afford to travel.
Because I would love to, travel around and keep playing Pokemon and whatnot and everything, but I think they have one in Memphis right now. And like the next Canadian one isn't until March, but it's in Toronto. I'm not going to Toronto just for a Pokemon tournament.
Well,
You do other things while you're there.
If we had like a large group and we could save a bunch of money, then I would think
Yeah.
about it. But
What's the in the Pokemon? What's the like dollar figure you can win? What's the most amount of money you can win?
well, what was the Vancouver one? The Vancouver one, I think we met the quota that you could have won. It's like $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
It
because
was like quite a bit.
They get into the
it's
tens
quite a
of
bit of money.
thousands with some of this Capcom Cup stuff, right?
So the guy who won was Rise, was who he was sponsored by. Mina RD. I think he was a South American player. He beat Taquito.
It's a big name.
Yeah, Taquito's a big name. Beat him in the grand finals. So a player named Nemo won like the last qualifying tournament.
I don't recognize that name.
He played some 4 and stuff like that. He's been around for a while. He beat Infiltration out in the very last tournament.
That's crazy.
So he was like the last person to get a spot.
Infiltration's been placing like top 5 in the last bunch of big events,
He's won
right?
Evo.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he hasn't won Capcom Cup, but this Nemo guy did really well. Like blazed through all competition, beating some really high level guys. Came up against Mina. Mina beat him. Mina fought Taquito in the winners finals. Lost. Went down and beat Nemo again to get him out. Then went back to fight Taquito, and he was down. He had to win essentially 2 best of 5 games because he was coming from losers.
Mm-hmm.
Taquito won the first 2, and then Mina won 3 in a row, reset the bracket.
Ooh.
Taquito won the first one, then Mina swept the rest of the games, crushed him. Mina takes home $250,000
Oh,
for winning.
well, this is also like you said. This is their big tournament though.
This is their
So this is like
their Super Bowl.
if you were relating it back to like the Pokemon TCG, this would be like Pokemon Worlds kind of event.
Yeah, and there's like Evo, you get a pretty good prize pool as well. Like Evo's in, I think the last 2 years was in the MGM, which is pretty big.
mm-hmm.
And then
Well, Evo's also more than just Capcom.
yeah, it's a bunch of
It's
games.
fighting games, yeah.
But the Street Fighter, I do believe, gets paid quite a bit of money as well. And like this year, they're going to Japan.
Yeah, I heard that. That's
Evo
pretty
in
cool.
Japan. One of our people used to come to Street Fighter weeklies when we used to have them at GameQuest. Bought a ticket.
Plane
already.
ticket, yeah.
It's pretty
I
exciting.
saw that.
Okay. What about the new characters in this 30th anniversary collection?
Well, it's not in the 30th anniversary, but it is new characters in Street Fighter 5 Season 3.
Mhm.
I saw
There's-
Sagat. Who else was in
I saw Sakura.
Sakura, yeah. Just scrolling down here. Sorry, I was not. What am I on here? Blanca, is in it. I think 2 new characters are in it. Cody has been revealed. Yeah, Sagat, and I can't find the names.
Of the new ones?
Yeah. But they're 2 new characters that have not been in Street Fighter before.
Are they from another franchise, or are they just
they're
totally from scratch?
brand new.
Interesting.
Brand new properties. Yeah, and then I believe lots of changes are coming to the game as well. They're adding second V triggers to all the characters,
Saw that.
stuff like that. So
All that stuff included with the season pass thing.
yeah, I think it's all going to be in the release of the
They're
arcade
doing the
edition.
arcade version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that come with the
Which comes
characters too, or just the?
I think it should come with characters.
Yeah.
Usually the arcade mode usually always has everything from the past years. Usually.
People are getting nasty with those little transactions though now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, maybe we've nipped it in the butt with
The Battlefront thing.
Yeah.
You're too nervous to do something.
pull
Well,
the trigger on
I
it.
feel like that was so bad they could do something not quite as bad and get away with it as good now. So.
Yeah, well, season passes have been around for a long time already.
Mhm.
In a lot of fighting games, it's a very popular thing to do, and even like Battlefield, season passes,
Mhm.
pretty big thing. You pay a flat rate for a year and you get access to everything.
That's keeping me away from them.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it drives me nuts too. You need to just buy a definitive thing, like we said before, make the game more expensive,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then you just get everything.
Yeah. If Arcade
So-
Edition does come with all the players, I might grab that and try and jump back into it for a little bit. Until again, then it just piles up with stuff that I haven't
Yeah.
gotten, and I'll wait for next edition.
What was with this 30th anniversary?
Yeah, this is awesome.
So their 30th anniversary is coming up next year, I believe, 2018. And I'm sure it has to be the 30th for Street Fighter 2, because Street Fighter 1 came out in like 1989.
Yeah, what was 291, 92?
Yeah, 92, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's just a huge collection of Street Fighter games. I got a list here: Street Fighter, the original, which is exciting to have.
Yeah,
it on
I think it's the first time they've re-released it. Like, because the other compilations they put out like the anthologies and stuff. I don't think they've
never
ever had
it,
that.
Never. Yeah, the last time you could get it was either arcade or on the Nintendo or the handhelds. You could play it.
Did they really have the original on there? I've got the original on Turbo
No, it was
CD.
like one of those Tiger games.
Oh yeah, and those aren't good ports of
they're not
anything.
good, no. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Street Fighter Super Street Fighter 2, the new challenger, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 3 Alpha 3, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike will all have online features.
That's
including
crazy.
ranks, casual matches, lobbies, and leaderboards.
So did you notice out of all those games that you just listed off, 7 of those were all Street Fighter 2?
I think he renamed a couple when he was talking about the online.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was like 4 or 5.
yeah, there was like
in
5
yeah.
Street Fighter 2s. It was like Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2
I love that.
Championship, Street Fighter
Actually,
2 Hyper Edition.
There's like 6 maybe.
6? Jeez.
Because
Yeah.
I know originally when I saw the release of this, when I quickly skimmed over that, I'm like, okay, 30th anniversary Street Fighter 2 edition.
That's
It's just like it seemed it was
really
almost
cool
all Street Fighter 2.
be able to see that evolution of that game
Yeah.
because it is such an important game.
Yeah, and
That's
they
awesome.
all play so differently and
Yeah.
add different mechanics into it. That could be like one of the most important games in gaming history when it comes to like changes that they made, like updating it, because they did so much in such little time, and you can go back and look at the progression of it.
Would
Yeah.
you say that Street Fighter evolved more compared to other fighting games?
Faster, yes.
Faster, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because Mortal Kombat was essentially the same game through 3 iterations.
What about like King of Fighters? Because I know there was like a King of Fighters every year, and to me, from an outsider perspective, they seemed like they were exactly the same.
King of Fighters is a different game entirely.
Yeah, every time. The
They-
roster's so drastically different in every one, too.
And that turned people away from it. But King of Fighters probably changed more than Street Fighter did. Street Fighter's changes were like you had a square block and they rounded the edges off so you had an oval. Then they made it a circle. Then they turned it into a sphere. Like, they molded it and perfected it. Whereas every year King of Fighters was like, we're going to add like completely new things into the game that's going to change.
Yeah.
Short hops, rolls, parries,
New meters.
yeah. So
Okay.
King of Fighters is one of my favorite series as well. They did do a lot for the fighting game.
That one, like, is so sporadic. Like, you'll have 1 year that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Next year's terrible. Next year's terrible. Next year's amazing again. And, like,
And every
it goes
Street Fighter
really up and down.
iteration was better
Solid,
than the last.
like, yeah.
Better than the last.
Except for maybe the EX ones that maybe dropped the ball, but everything else has been moving forward, I
Yeah,
think.
like all the Alpha series from beginning to end was
Yeah.
really good. The 3 series was really good. Added a lot of really cool stuff. So
That'll be okay. That'll be interesting to see that. Moving on to the next story. Are you guys ready to see the Pokemon with a mouth? Ryan Reynolds being starred as Detective Pikachu.
It's crazy.
I threw this bit of news on here, kind of for Dustin and Kelsey, because I'm not a Pokemon fan, and I am so out of context. Is this a real thing? Does Detective Pikachu exist before this movie?
It's an actual movie that exists in Japan, but I think this is the North American remake.
Is it the debut of Detective Pikachu in North America? Is he in any
Yes.
games?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think he's...
Oh wait, no, hang on.
Is he in, like, a mystery dungeon or something like that?
Oh no, sorry, no, it was a game. It was an actual physical game, but I don't think it was ever actually released here in North
I
America.
think I remember that. He has a little brown hat on. He has
Yes.
a little magnifying glass, and there was
Yeah.
some kind of function that was new to the game.
But I think in the game though he speaks like a normal person.
Did he eat some kind of like brain pill?
I don't know.
Like, I don't it breaks my brain.
Before this came out, like long before this came out, do you remember seeing the memes where people had like Danny DeVito dubbed on over his voice from like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, but that sounds amazing.
It was Detective Pikachu, Danny DeVito. Look it up. It's really, really, really funny.
I've actually been watching a lot of Always Sunny lately.
The show's
so that's,
amazing.
like right up my alley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that Ryan Reynolds will do it. It's just
Yeah.
obviously I think he'll do a good job with it.
He has a good voice.
He has a good
for
voice. He has a good
voiceovers.
personality. He's
Yeah.
not gonna
Be goofy.
completely Deadpool-esque.
No, they'll make it PG.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
it's
yeah.
for
And he
kids,
seems
yeah.
that he only takes things that he wants to do now,
Mm-hmm.
and that he's interested in. So he's gonna invest his time.
He'll
into
put
it.
some time into it.
So I wonder if he has kids that might be into it.
I don't think he's got kids yet, is he?
He does.
Does he?
I think he has a daughter.
Nice.
So
So
'cause I recall seeing a video. It was him.
Oh yeah, he
I
had
think
that quote
it
about
was-
like changing diapers to help your wife. Yeah,
It was something about. I think it was just before Deadpool or something came out. It was him. It was I can't remember, some sort of magazine, whatnot. But they did a video of him building an IKEA crib. And it was really funny.
I will probably. My son will probably take me to see this when it comes out. I will most likely see Detective Pikachu at some
That's
point.
if we get it.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get it.
If not, we'll watch it on video or Netflix or something.
Because it's
Mhm.
just like the last time I've seen anything like I had friends into it when the big Pokemon craze of the late 90s happened.
Mm-hmm.
Card games, the games, I never played them. They tried to teach me the card games, wasn't into it. I watched a bit of the cartoon because it was like before
Everywhere.
Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. So I was like, well, I'll catch the tail end. Team
Yeah.
Rocket used to crack me up. And Meowth, I have a Meowth t-shirt. Is it Meowth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a Meowth t-shirt. I love him. I loved him in Smash Brothers. In the movie, the first one from
He's an
YouTube.
assist ball, like an item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it comes out and he
You just start throwing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, he
Um,
wasn't a playable character.
And the last time I actually ever sat down and watched a full thing of Pokemon or had anything to really do with Pokemon was the movie with Mewtwo. My friends dragged me to the theater to watch it.
The very first one.
The very first one, Pokemon the movie,
Mm-hmm.
in big, obnoxious, bold lettering. So it's really interesting to see. Like, we've gone through a Pokemon resurgence, Pokesurgence.
Yeah.
It's actually really big right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
thanks
crazy.
to Sun and Moon, it's
and
going
Pokemon
through the roof.
Go like research.
Pokemon
big time,
Go,
too.
Pokemon Go,
huge
too,
shot
yeah.
in the arm for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to get new movies and like Ryan Reynolds is involved in it and all this
Yeah.
Poke Talk going on, it's kind of interesting to see that. It's kind of
And-
really cool. And Dragon Ball's come back too.
And they were
it's a big
saying they're
anime.
doing that Mario movie, so maybe this is Nintendo really pushing movie franchises with
Yeah,
their
maybe.
properties.
Maybe we'll get a Metroid movie.
That would be actually nice.
It would be really awesome if they didn't
If
butcher it.
they were doing any of their series as live action, I think that's the one that would work best.
Yeah,
I think so
Metroid
as
would be
well.
the best.
Yeah. Who would be Samus? Margot Robbie?
Scarlett Johansson. She's pretty short though.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty
Well,
tall.
I don't think height in Hollywood matters anymore. They could make them look.
That's very true.
Or what's her name from Game of Thrones and Who's Phasma?
Gwendolyn Christie.
Gwendolyn Christie.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Dustin, thoughts?
I'm trying to think who would be my star.
I want to see Gwendolyn Christie now. That
What about Mila Djokovic? She could be very Samus-like.
I just get.
She's already got the Resident Evil stuff
I
and
know
everything
she's
already.
never done like a really good movie. She's done
Yeah.
really campy movies a lot, and
Yeah.
they're good and they're fun. But I
Yeah.
don't know if I want a campy Samus.
I don't.
I'd rather have a really
I'd rather
badass Samus.
I'd rather it be a serious movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She'd have the look down for sure though.
Let's move on to the next story here. And I am shocked to read this when you guys posted it. That the Video Game Awards tripled their viewers from last year to reach 11.5 million views.
That's a big.
Here's my
jump
question.
Year over year.
Was that 11.5 million views at the beginning of the video and it just trailed down and down and down as it went on because people were just basically, this is long and boring. I'm just going to skip ahead and look at the good parts.
Like, not taking into account what we said about the Game Awards, every single other person I've heard talk about this says it's such a big improvement. Like
That is true. That is
yeah.
true. It was a big improvement compared to like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But it still needs some work.
And remember how much he pushed the international stuff too, esports, the Chinese games. Like I'm sure a lot of that viewership is new countries that had no interest in it previous years too. But that's a huge jump year over year. Like if you can do that like one more time, then we're like, that's pretty massive.
Mm-hmm. We'll see, but it'll be curious to see if it does jump again or if it wanes next year because of what we said about it.
Maybe they put on guys like Dr. Disrespect. Like I'm sure he brings a ton of viewers with him.
Well, I'm
just
pretty sure
being
he's
on the
off.
ballot.
He's
Not
gonna
anymore.
be coming back anytime soon.
Well, I mean, like that's a huge pump. There might be someone else next year who's
That's true.
just
Could
as
be
big.
us.
They could pull out. Yeah, exactly.
We could have a guest spot.
Yeah.
We really got to start pumping out those game videos.
Paul wants to tell you about McDonald's Uber next year.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The Big D. Let me tell you about the Big D. I was like, what?
Big D's right here.
Big D's right there.
Ugh.
Get me out of this small, tiny,
Yeah.
hot room.
Why do I have to be in the middle?
You're my Big D buffer.
So it was just shocking to hear that news about the Game Awards stuff.
I think it's good though. It's good news. It can only get better, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it's gonna revert and go backwards. I think it's just gonna improve, especially if he's got more power to be pickier with his announcements, pickier with his sponsors. Like
I'm pretty sure next year we're going to see an improvement, change on how he brings hosts up or guests.
no,
Yeah.
I think that
'Cause
worked
that
out
was-
in his favor. I bet you so many people were like tweeting and messaging their friends like, "You got to watch this weird guy on the Game Awards, like having his Oscars rant." Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that worked out really well for him as much as I wasn't a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that
I
helped the show.
think that was the funniest moment.
Absolutely. No, without a doubt.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to our last big news story
Big elephant
Disney
in the
and
room.
Fox settled on a deal for
Yeah.
$52
we
billion.
mentioned that on our first episode that it was possibility. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
that's
crazy.
That's really big news for a lot of things, good and bad.
You were mentioning you're just watching It's Always Sunny. Like, that's a Disney property now. That's
Yeah,
weird to think about.
Simpsons,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Family Guy. So like, I'm as excited as I am to see, like, just think about how big Disneyland's gonna get now, with all this like Simpsons World and like all this stuff. that's
Yeah,
gonna
what's
be added.
Universal Studios going to do? Because they had all that cool stuff there
Well,
last time. I was
Universal
there.
Studios has Mario World coming in.
They do. I'm pretty excited about that, actually.
Well,
But,
is Universal Studios?
There is one thing though. Universal
Never mind.
Studios, I don't think that Disney can put Simpsons into Disneyland right away because I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
they'll
they
have
still have a
Time
contract with the
yeah,
Simpsons.
so 5 to 10 years down the road, it'll...
Also,
revert kind of
Universal
thing.
Studios does have another attraction that is a Disney property already, and Disney's just been like, yeah, keep it. We collect so
Right.
much money.
Which Disney property are you referring to?
I can't remember. I read it in an article the other day. I'd have to do some deep diving, but
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I've been to Universal Studios a couple times and I loved it. I don't remember something that popped out to me is Disney owns this.
Yeah, and Universal Studios has to pay a percentage.
Sure.
Of
course.
Whatever. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, fine, Universal Studios. Yeah.
So we, like, my family completely, when we did both Disney World and Universal Studios, and we spent 3 times as much time at Universal Studios and loved it way more in Disney World. Because Disney World just seemed like a mall, basically. Like, there was tons of cool stuff to buy, but there wasn't a lot of cool stuff to do.
Yeah.
And Universal Studios had all the stuff to do that we wanted.
But that was pre-Star Wars Land and Harry Potter.
No, they had Harry Potter Land. They had all the Star Wars stuff. Like, Yuri did a Jedi training thing there and stuff. Like, it was all in full force. Like, this was very recently.
It seems like Universal Studios obviously is more amusement park than, like you said, than just a park of like, hey, come check out our Disney stuff. Oh, I already know about it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Move along.
And then, like, they're only hitting what's new now because they have too many properties almost. Because when we went there, my wife was like, I love Bambi. Let's go find some Bambi souvenirs. And we scoured the whole place, and there was like the skunk like hiding in a barrel like in one place, and that was all we could find. And all the people were like, it's in the vault. Like, no one wants Bambi right now, so we don't have any Bambi stuff.
You gotta go back when they opened the vault, man.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the purchase, Disney did come out and say that they're not going to change. Like, Deadpool's still going to be R-rated.
Sure.
They're looking into bringing in the X-Men and Fantastic Four into the Marvel Universe.
I could see them reversing that if 2 doesn't do as well as 1 did.
Yeah.
If, like, Deadpool 1 made a ton of money, and
if they want to add
I think Deadpool 2 is going to do just as well as 1.
I think so as well.
It was the only thing of its kind at the time. You've had Logan since then too, which did really well R-rated. So maybe people just aren't as into it.
No, if that's only a trend going up. Like, they'll need to see something if Deadpool 2 is a bad movie, you'll see a decline but Deadpool 1 was such a hit, Logan was such a hit. Deadpool 2 is going to be people are going to see it just really well, based on the fact that Deadpool 1 was really good.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2 was garbage. The next movie you'll see a decline.
Well, Deadpool 2 will probably do really well because this time they'll actually have a budget to work with.
Yeah.
Because they have
sometimes they overdo that though, and then so if they make the same amount as money as Deadpool, but they spent 3 times as much making it, they have less in their pocket.
Well, you know the scene in the first Deadpool movie where he loads up all the guns in the duffel bag?
Yep.
They could only afford to do that for 1 day, which is the reason why they wrote out that he forgot his duffel bag in the taxi. Because they didn't have the budget to do it another day.
I'm fine with that because it's very seldom that I can think we see Deadpool with like a huge arsenal of weapons.
It made for some good jokes too, like when he made the comment that they couldn't afford any more X-Men at the Manor. Like those kind of things are funny. Like if they give the budget,
breaking the wall. That's what Deadpool
jokes.
does.
Yeah.
He breaks the fourth wall a lot.
Cut to the opening of Deadpool 2 is just him in front of like the Fox executive just slapping him around.
I'm wondering how much they're like rewriting like just drastically on phase 4 of Marvel now, or 5 that we're coming into. Like after the Avengers stuff here with Thanos, they've got to be like totally rethinking that now that they have access to all this new stuff.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be, the landscape is going to change huge. Because what do we got coming out after Avengers 4?
We have Black Panther, Captain Marvel.
Well, Black Panther's coming out before.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
so
Captain Marvel.
Captain
That's
Marvel.
Before Avengers?
The 4th one.
Right.
Guardians 3 probably.
Guardians 3, Doctor Strange 2. I think
possible Iron Man 4.
Possible another Ant-Man movie, a 3rd one I think.
Spider-Man
2. That's the stuff that's like really popping up to me right now.
No more Captain America's right now.
No, Captain America's gonna be shut down. Thor's probably not gonna be going anymore.
It's kind of hard once you hit 3. It's hard to continue going on because then it's just like, the movie's going on and on and on.
Especially if you want to keep the same actors there, like that's getting expensive and they're getting older.
Which is why that rumor of maybe they're going to kill off Tony or something.
Yeah. They could replace any of them really.
And then that like easily we could slot in X-Men and Fantastic Four easily.
Yeah,
and hopefully they're good. I want to see a good version of Fantastic Four so
Me
bad.
too. Doom is one of my favorites. To have
I wanna-
a good Doom.
I
was
wanna
just
see-
Silver
a
Surfer,
dream.
Galactus,
Yeah.
I wanna see-
Atlas, like,
No, I want to see Chris Evans, Captain America, walk in front of Chris Evans, Human Torch,
That
and
would
be
be
like,
good.
"Hey, you're a good-looking guy. Thank you."
Annihilus would be maybe not the most interesting movie, but that would be the most visually cool movie, I think.
yeah, it'd be really interesting to see. I'd like to see in Avengers 4 a battle with Thanos, and Thanos throw Chris Evans Nomad or Captain America maybe back at once we get there through like a time warp, and he warps past himself as Human Torch. A really cool, or like a reality shift, like using the gauntlet to a reality shift, and it's like
Human Torch is just sitting there chilling out with a bunch of girls, and like he comes flying in, bam! Oh, sorry, gotta go.
in
Like,
another
that guy looks like
reality.
me.
That'd be too funny.
Yeah, I think.
Did
that'd
you
be
ever see
cool.
the unreleased Fantastic Four movie from like the mid '90s?
No, I didn't.
You should download it. It is the greatest.
Oh, really?
It's better than anything we've got. Like it's super cheesy and campy.
It's not hard to do.
And
We
it-
could make a better Fantastic
But it's like
Four
so
movie.
like they haven't done all the post production stuff either. So like when a bad guy like falls down, you see like a safety mat like flap around him.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure they told the actor who was Doom, like, since they can't see your face, like, emote lot with your hands. So he's always, like, swinging around like crazy while he's talking.
Casting spells as Doom
And,
would.
like, the thing, I'm pretty sure they just took a Ninja Turtles costume and painted it orange and stuck it on him.
Oh,
It
that's
looks
so
very
good.
similar. It's so much fun.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Oh, yeah.
When
I
he
love that
does
show.
the Fantastic Four. Daddy's got to get his rocks off.
Tobias.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
so good. So good. Where's Daddy's little girl? Daddy's got to get his rocks off. Q FBI.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
This show's amazing.
All right, this is a good time to jump into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thoughts on, like, and it has Aliens, Predator, in the acquisition of Fox. It'll be interesting if they keep them R-rated, and if they do.
Avatar's also in it too.
Avatar.
Terminator? Yeah, is Terminator Fox property?
I don't know. I thought it was Universal.
I'm pretty excited about the next Terminator with Arnold back with Cameron. That's pretty awesome.
We'll see what happens.
This could be amazing.
'Cause the
I
last
was
one was-
one of the few people that loved Genesis. I was so excited. I bought it right away.
The beginning of Genesis was cool. Anyways,
like
My only one thought on the purchase thing that someone pointed out, which I think is a really good thought, is Disney's probably going to take all these properties and put them into their own Netflix / Hulu
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
want to break away from Netflix.
Yeah,
they
they're
want to
working
create
on
their
their own
own, so
streaming thing.
they now have all
That
the
just
content
gave
that
them
everybody
something.
wants to
the
watch.
library, and that's probably was a huge driving
Yeah,
force behind
right
this.
now, like I've been wanting to catch up on Always Sunny. I'm probably 2 seasons behind on that now. If that's on a streaming service for Disney, that's gonna get me to buy it right there.
Sold.
And my family's gonna watch all the old classic movies and
X-Files
the new
is gonna
Pixar
be on
stuff.
there.
I could rewatch X-Files totally. Like,
X-Files is on Netflix, but
I'm buying that new season too. This
it's gonna be big.
probably will get
It's-
me to get that streaming
yeah,
service.
like before I was like, but now I'm like, I'm probably all in on it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they
I'll probably cancel my Netflix the same month that comes out too.
Which is going to be sad.
It
the
is.
death of Netflix. This could be the
Yeah,
death of Netflix.
they had a good run.
They had the run.
There's just like, how about other services like Hulu and Amazon and stuff, like HBO,
Nothing will touch HBO because HBO has
Game
so
of
much.
Thrones.
Well, and
What
their
else they
own
got?
original Sopranos. The
Well,
Wire,
HBO is also
Oz.
Do people still
1600.
buy for shows that are 10 plus years old?
Yeah.
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 I love The
HBO
Wire.
has their own
So good.
dedicated
Yes,
service
that's
though
great.
too. So.
Yeah. And there's like Westworld is new.
I heard that's so good. Yeah,
It's
I want to check
amazing.
that out.
It's an amazing show. Anthony Hopkins is like,
I like him.
it's a good show. If you haven't watched it, it's a really, really amazing
Mhm.
show.
I liked him in Thor, especially the first one. That scene where
He was a good Odin.
it was a good Odin where it was obviously they had the Shakespearean acting experience come into play when like Loki tried to butt in. He's like, hey, and then he's just like, okay. It's like that was an awesome scene.
That was an awesome scene. So this is a great segue talking about Marvel acquiring Fox and their properties to move into Kelsey seeing Avengers Infinity
Yeah,
Right.
War.
Yeah.
we didn't
Before we
talk about that last time.
before we get out of the news segment. What are your thoughts on the Avengers trailer?
I don't know if it's because I saw it right in front of Star Wars and that was a lot to take in. I thought it would leave a much bigger impact on me. It was almost forgettable.
Yeah.
It-
I was super underwhelmed.
Yeah, the only thing I was expecting out of this trailer that I wanted to see was some raw Thanos power and some devastation that it caused.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him punch Iron Man down and put a stone in his gauntlet.
Yeah, and then come out of a portal.
Yeah, and the one thing I really didn't want was a huge battle
Yeah.
of like an army versus an army, and you see like the Wakandan army with some Avengers leading it against who knows what.
A generic alien army.
That's so lame. That's
Yeah, very
why
cliche.
I didn't go see Justice League in the movie or in the theater. Like I don't know.
Here-
I
my
wanted a
thought
lot
on
more out of
that
trailer.
Is that going to be part of the cliffhanger?
No.
Ugh.
The cliffhanger, that's going to be
Or is the cliffhanger maybe going to be Thanos kills somebody and then we don't
If-
know if he's dead or not?
if the movie does any justice to Thanos, this war in Wakanda will be a distraction for Thanos to outsmart everybody and acquire
A stone.
somehow. Like that's how I look at it.
Mhm.
Like Thanos is out. He's like, oh, these guys, they've got some power back.
Have they said how long this movie is yet?
No.
If there's a
It's
war,
2
like,
movies.
I want it to be really long if there's this big war because they always spend so much time on those things,
Yeah.
and I still want enough story beyond that stupid war.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got a lot of ground to cover on this one because they got to show the Guardians with Thor. They got to
Yeah.
show
I didn't see
Tony
Ant-Man
with
in the trailer at
Spider-Man.
all.
No, there was no Ant-Man in the trailer.
Yeah, and he had Vision as like a real boy for a while there, which was interesting too.
And the stone didn't really look like a stone. Looked like where the stone was, because you have the scene where Vision's on his back.
And he's
And,
got the scepter on his
yeah.
head, and he's screaming. Yeah.
So maybe they take it out and he reverts to a human.
Yeah, Loki's back.
Well,
looked like he was
the
pretty
scene
beat
where
up
they
doing something
showed
weird.
the first shot when they showed him turning his head, when he looks human, he does have the stone in his
Yeah,
forehead.
It doesn't look like a stone. It looks like where a stone was. It's like, it doesn't look like a stone.
I was
proper.
pretty sure it was glowing when I last saw
Yeah,
it.
but it was like shimmering, and it didn't look like there was a stone there. It looked like it was a place where a stone was.
Hmm.
You should watch it again.
That's true because you could edit it in a way where if you saw that first and then you see that quick clip of possibly his stone being removed,
Yeah.
that could be in opposite order.
Yeah. Which is Star Wars did that in the trailer. Like there was
Mhm.
lots of opposite order stuff. And
Other than Ant-Man, was everyone else represented? I don't recall anyone else not being there.
I'm trying to think of all.
I didn't see Hawkeye.
No Hawkeye.
Yeah, they had Hawkeye. There's a scene where he's to his back, arms crossed.
Oh,
You
that's right.
Just see him staring out like a spaceship
Well,
window.
it's true because Hawkeye would be with Cap right now, right? Because
It looked like he was on like the Guardian ship or something. Like it was
No,
like he
that
was
was
looking out
that
a
was
window,
Thor.
That was
wasn't he?
Thor.
His back?
Yeah.
Like I saw. Oh,
was-
maybe.
no,
I
that
did
was
miss
Thor
Hawkeye
because that
then.
was in the intro
Yeah.
dialogue where they're redoing Samuel Jackson's
Okay.
Yeah.
monologue.
Did we not see Hawkeye then?
We
Or
didn't
I
see
just
Hawkeye.
missed
I don't remember seeing
We
Hawkeye.
heard Sam Jackson. We didn't see him. Who else? I'm trying to
Widow's
think about-
got blonde hair now.
Yeah. Nomad. Captain America with his beard.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
He's got the iron suit, which
Iron
looked really
Spider.
awesome.
Iron Spider.
Really
So,
cool.
2 theories have come out about this movie, and I've been waiting for you because they released the toy line, as Marvel often does early.
Spoiled something.
Yeah, or images of the toy line. So they show the Hulkbuster suit in
Yeah, it's pretty prominent in the trailer.
Wakanda, and they show.
They
Bruce
showed
Banner.
like just the Hulkbuster like arm was like off in the
Bruce
ground
Banner
somewhere.
was standing next to the Hulkbuster arm.
Mhm.
So the spoiler that came out or the toys that were released was Bruce Banner operating the Hulkbuster arm.
I read that too.
So the theory is that Iron Man's not in Wakanda. It's Bruce Banner, and then Bruce Banner suppressing the Hulk during this, and then something happens, and then the Hulk comes out proper after.
Which they were saying that would be pretty cool to see that Banner fighting in the Iron Man suit, and then suddenly like something
Burst
happens, like
out of
oh
it.
no he's dead, and then Hulk comes bursting out like an alien out of an
So they
astronaut
had-
chest.
They had Banner and Iron Man together with
New
Strange. Yeah.
And the theory behind that is because when the portal comes, everything's normal and fine. You see Peter Parker on the bus, his spider
Yeah.
sense goes off, which we're led to believe is his spider sense, because we didn't see it in Homecoming.
Right.
Spider-Man goes to combat whatever this is, and Tony Stark's in Doctor Strange's asylum.
Right.
Mhm.
Hulk falls through. Tony Stark turns, and he's holding a cell phone. To the keen eye, it's the same cell phone that Captain America gave him at the end of Civil War. contact
calling
me if you
Cap.
need anything. So a lot of people are thinking he couldn't call him because in the asylum there's no
Cell range.
there's no like why would it's all magic.
They didn't bring the Verizon guy in and find out if
Exactly.
they could hear him.
So people have been trying to contact them to say like everything's falling apart outside. Where is Iron Man?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's fighting Thanos. Pepper Potts shows up in the Iron Man outfit.
Yeah, they were saying there's rumor that that Peppers might be wearing the suit again.
And in
That's
this
good.
movie,
I wanna
and
see her
she
back.
gets killed. And then Iron Man won't take up that mantle, and that's why he's not in Wakanda.
Interesting. I'm kind of surprised they didn't show any of Thanos' buddies because they revealed them quite a while ago.
They
They showed one in the beginning. I think the one that throws the spear at Cap.
Captain America.
He was not the focus of that trailer, though.
No. They'll use them
I thought they were
very
gonna.
heavy.
I
in
thought they
the
were
movie
gonna be
itself.
super heavy in this movie, and then maybe not or very little in the next movie.
Oh, I think they are going to be used very heavy. They're
In
just
both?
not. No, in the first one,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just not showing them at all.
This seems weird.
I feel that in that big war scene, we'll see them a lot. We
Well-
won't see Thanos on.
Also,
Wakanda.
don't forget there will most likely be one more trailer
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
Maybe
In front of Black Panther or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna think Super Bowl time.
Yeah.
Is
When
usually when
is
they do
Super Bowl?
because it's
February,
because
beginning
it's
of
come
February.
because Infinity War's coming out in May, which is their usual spot for a big Marvel property, and they always do some sort of Super Bowl ad in February-ish, March-ish.
Yeah, that would make sense time-wise.
Or they'll save it for, like Kelsey thought, for Black Panther, but they didn't save this one for Star Wars. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The underwhelming trailer. It's. I don't know. I wanted more
wanted more.
Thanos.
But
Yeah.
could it be maybe it was underwhelming on purpose? Maybe they don't want to give all the good stuff out right away.
for me, when I watched Age of Ultron, it was overwhelming. I was so excited for that movie. Then the movie came and I was so let down. This trailer is underwhelming. The movie's gonna come out. I'm gonna be super excited for it. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded because of Age of Ultron. So
Think we'll see Ultron come back? They really left that pretty open too.
I think Ultron's
Yeah.
gone.
I don't
Unless
think
he's
so.
unless he's somehow in Vision.
He comes back all the freaking time in
Yeah.
the books. Like they cannot get rid of that
Yeah.
guy.
they cannot get rid of him.
But
And,
this,
you know, with
but
the
this is
Infinity
but this is
Gauntlet,
also
anything can
this
happen.
is also the Marvel movie properties where they kill off a villain and they're generally gone, with the exception of like Loki.
Red Skull's gonna come back.
Red Skull could easily come back.
Yeah.
They just warped him somewhere.
Yeah.
And with the Infinity Gauntlet, anything can happen.
That's true. Like you
That's-
said, maybe they
yeah.
just do a time reset and
Yeah. Hey, Ultron.
Alter reality.
Yeah.
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 I need a robot army to fight these Wakandans.
Well, and easily Ultron's personality could have been saved in the
Yeah.
mind gym. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be definitely an excited movie for us.
Yeah.
to
I
look
still want to
into
go see
next.
the movie very much.
yeah, I'll go definitely see the movie
But
4 times.
why don't we use that to transition into the excited movie that we really wanted to see last night?
So buckle in. We're already at an hour.
And we're just starting the Star Wars
Yeah.
talk.
So before we get into spoiler territory on the Star Wars stuff, let's talk
Do
about
some safe talk first.
some safe talk. Your thoughts on leading into the movie from A Force Awakens.
It was cool coming in to the second showing on the second day and still seeing a big lineup.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit of hype there because I really thought there's going to be not as much hype for this being the third Star Wars movie.
Did you see the
3
lineup
years.
when we came out?
Yeah, it was even longer.
Huge,
Like for the late
huge.
show, yeah, it was like outside past the parking lot. Like it was pretty crazy.
People in costume, second day,
Yeah, we had a
lightsabers,
whole bunch
stuff
of
like that,
sabers in the
Yeah.
theater that all lit up during the opening scroll.
which was
Yeah. Thankfully,
cool.
they were pleasant and turned them off right after, or even during it. Like
Yeah, because I was probably going to get out of my seat and go talk to them if they kept their lightsabers going. I was already planning it in my
yeah.
head.
No, they were respectful.
Yeah, which was nice.
Sit there and Force choke them.
Yeah.
The crowd was into it. Like
Yeah.
certain parts, like stuff would happen, the crowd was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Not nearly to the point for Force Awakens though. Like understandably so. There's that huge gap of no Star Wars for like a decade.
And the
Like,
same thing happened with Phantom Menace. Like when I saw
Yeah.
the theater, the crowd was
Yeah.
like, "Wah," going.
Yeah.
Then it was like going to see a live sporting event.
Yeah, and I didn't get anywhere near that for this one. There was
Yeah.
still a little bit of applauding and like you get the whole theater laughing at the same parts, but there wasn't those moments like when Han and Chewie walked in the ship in Force Awakens where everyone just went nuts and lost their mind.
Yeah.
Even though the trailer kind of ruined that moment.
Yep.
Yeah, it was still great to see it with a room full of people. Like I don't feel like we had those moments in this movie at all.
The score for the movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Better than Force Awakens. I really enjoyed it. It really got me into the movie when it needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be the best looking movie I've ever seen in my life. It looked gorgeous.
It does look
multiple times.
There's something in the movie that I have a really big problem with. Two things actually, where with visually, and I will get into that in spoilers.
I'm really curious to hear that.
Once we go into spoiler town, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
It's just
because it, like throughout the whole movie, I agreed it was shot so well. The cinematography was really good. What's the director's name?
Rian Johnson, I think.
He really cares about Star Wars. He cares about the direction, how everything looks, how everything dressed. Like, you could really tell this was like a passion project for him, which was super exciting. You could really tell that he is influenced by like samurai movies or Kurosawa because of how all the like the full body lightsaber scenes we get. We don't get a lot of that in other Star Wars movies. It's like half torso or but it was like close-up shots underneath of the whole body of them.
The fight
Because
scenes
the fight scenes were shot
Yeah.
well compared to most action movies where they cheap out on doing, like you said, half cuts.
Like there was
And
like
most
up to
Star
now the
Wars-
best lightsaber scenes. What Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
I'd say
episode
so.
And there
one?
was some stuff to rival that in this movie for sure.
Yeah, even the Dooku Anakin
It was okay.
Obi-Wan wasn't bad because it wasn't a bunch of crazy flippy shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
And this one, like, you didn't have that kind of over-the-top stuff either. You had some cool
he had
stuff
one
that was a little
over-the-top
crazy,
thing, and
but
it irritated me.
I thought it was subdued enough that it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, like, I do have my problems with the movie. I am going to see it again tomorrow because I feel that all Star Wars movies now need multiple viewings in the 30s, or in the theaters.
You're well into your 30s.
I'm well
It's
into
fine.
my, because you have your nostalgia glasses on when you see it, and I can't like help but go like Star Wars. So I need to watch it more than once to really like sink my teeth
like you said,
into it.
most movies nowadays you have to watch it a second time just to get those little subtle hints of something that maybe is foreshadowed for the next movie.
Well,
Beyond
even-
just
or-
those, like the first, like Force Awakens, like I was so into that. Like I was in that opening night theater with all the hype going on, and I was like, "This is the greatest Star Wars movie I've ever seen in my life." Every time I watched it, I like it a little less,
Yes.
a little less,
Yeah.
and I want to watch this one multiple times too and see if that changes how I'm
Beca-
feeling right now.
because I watched The Force Awakens twice leading up to this, and like I really love the beginning of that movie. I've softened on my Harrison Ford. Like I thought he was so bad in it. I'm like, wow, he wasn't too bad. Princess Leia, I didn't really like in that movie. I didn't think she did a really good job. And there's just like, I like it. There's stuff that I really like, and there's stuff that we could have done without. And it's not the best Star Wars movie. Force
It's not the
Awakens.
worst.
It's not the worst. It's probably like right in the middle.
Yeah,
I put it
It's
right in the
very
middle.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
This movie I'd rank a little higher.
Before we go into spoiler town here, what were some of the questions
This is spoiler.
after some
you said before going into spoiler.
before going into
yeah.
spoiler town? So after watching Force Awakens, what were some questions that you had in your head that you were hoping this movie might have addressed?
My biggest one was I wanted more Snoke. I want to know a lot more about Snoke.
Oof.
For
What
me,
was your biggest?
I wanted confirmation on who Rey's parents are.
Ugh.
Because I love watching game theory videos,
Yeah.
and he had a really good theory on who Rey's parents was. So I
Yes.
wanted to go into the movie and see if he was correct on his theory.
I
So that was for me. That was the one big question I really wanted answered
highly
coming into the movie.
Highly debated. Lots of theories that could have been. Lots of theories on Snoke, where he comes from.
What was your biggest question going into this one?
Knights
Without-
of Ren.
The Knights of Ren.
I wanted to know more about the Knights of Ren. I was very excited about that. Those are kind of like the big three questions coming out of that movie. Rey's parents or lineage,
Mm-hmm.
Snoke's like origin and more about Snoke, and the Knights of Ren. I'm sure there were some other questions regarding like Luke Skywalker, where's Lando,
Why
what's going
why
on?
was R2 hanging on to that entire map the entire time of the first movie?
What's like how's Finn gonna bounce back? Is Phasma still alive? Is
What's the state of the alliance? Right
General
now?
Nux still alive? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
How bad did Starkiller Base actually wound First Order?
or
Or ruin the Republic.
and ruin the Republic. Yeah. So yeah, this movie.
Do you felt like having that big list of questions? Do you felt like this movie gave you closure to much of that?
It answered them, and that's all I'm going to say without spoiling it.
Were you satisfied with the answers?
I don't want to say that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that'll be spoiler town.
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty good for our thoughts leading into it. So now this is the
Before we
time.
go with spoilers,
Oh, sure.
would you say watch or not watch?
Watch which? The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Worth
oh, yeah,
going to see in the
watch
theater?
it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
go watch it.
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
You
agree
have
with
to.
that.
Before I obviously I'd say watch it. If you like Star Wars, if you've liked any Star Wars
Even if you
movie,
don't like stars and you just want to see something gorgeous and,
Yeah.
and fun,
So-
it's
actually,
worth watching.
Something for kind of going towards Paul and anybody who is playing Battlefront 2. I have to say, because we didn't want to give, because you're still trying to finish the new DLC campaign stuff. I don't want to give it away, but I will say that the subtle little nuances of bridging
yeah,
Force Awakens with the new movie that Battlefront 2 does
Yeah.
is really good.
even at the end of the original campaign for it, there's some stuff that kind of like bridges the gaps really well.
Mm-hmm.
And one other quick thing, just before we go into spoilers, me and Dustin talked about it. We both probably saw the same article. Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter ranks Star Wars: The Last Jedi by the critics at 93%, but the audience score is 56%.
Which was less than Justice League.
Well, wait, I'll get to that. 56%. It's the lowest audience scored Star Wars yet. There's still lots of time
That's
for that,
crazy
for that
that,
score to
like-
move,
Yeah.
but it's the lowest audience score. In contrast, Justice League is at 40% on the tomato meter, which is by critics, but 80% of the audience score liked it. So that's like a huge difference
Discrepancy
in-
between
yeah.
the two. Yeah.
And
Like
it-
usually they're like 10 points off? Like
Yeah.
that seems like
I think they could have said that Justice League is one of the biggest gaps going that way, but it's not uncommon for like it to go that way, but for the
Yeah.
tomato meter to be high and audience score to be that much different. So
yeah,
I'm
like
gonna
when
try to keep an
something
eye
like
on it.
Justice League, like they know their fans who they're making the movie for, and they're not always making those movies for critics. They're making it for the people who watched
Yeah.
and loved Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, and they know what they're getting into. But yeah, the other way around, like when you're making a movie for critics, usually the people that watch it also enjoy it.
So I thought that was like going into spoilers and us being like, yeah, go watch it. That's a very a lot of people think I don't take Rotten Tomatoes for anything.
I don't take critics for anything anymore
Yeah.
either. Being a critic is overrated.
Yep.
Because the last time I can recall years ago when my stepfather and I walked into Roger's Video to go rent a movie,
Classic.
we came across a movie that was like, critically acclaimed, and everything. Oh, this would be a really good movie, so we watched it. It was the most boring
What
piece
movie
of
was it?
crap I've ever seen. Sideways.
Oh yeah,
You get to see the wiener pressed against the car
Yeah.
window.
100%.
Timeless.
It was boring. We were like, as soon as we did it, we were like, okay, we're in agreement. We are never ever going to grab a movie that is just full plasted, critically acclaimed. We're
I want
never
a
going
bunch
to do
of
that
words.
ever again.
I like Paul Giamatti. I watched.
I really
anything
like
with
Paul
him in it.
Giamatti.
I don't mind him as an actor. The movie was just boring.
Yeah, it happens. So I was talking to Paul. I just watched There Will Be Blood, and I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but I enjoyed it, and that movie won a buttload of awards too.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
It's not something I ever want to rewatch though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I say I love that movie. I watched it when it first came out. I haven't watched it since, but I still love that movie. I don't know when I'm going to watch it again, but
You got to give it 10-year breather. I
yeah,
think.
just because it's a good movie, like a really good movie, doesn't mean I need to rewatch it all the
Yeah,
time.
it's slow.
It's a slog, yeah,
Slow.
it's a slog. But
Well-
Daniel Day-Lewis is like,
Also, movie reviews and game reviews and stuff, if you're a person who likes taking other people's opinions to sway your opinion, go for it.
Yeah.
If not, be the judge yourself.
Don't listen
Go
to
watch it.
I like watching reviews after I've seen the product. I don't typically watch them before. I like to see, like, did people think what I thought? Did I miss some stuff in it? Like, that kind of stuff. I don't like having that try and shape my opinion before I play or watch something.
So don't take our opinion on it.
Absolutely not.
But, like, because the first time viewing, I'm going to say go watch it no matter what, because I'm such a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So, a little biased.
If you're a Star Wars fan, go watch it. If you like sci-fi stuff, go watch it.
If you like
Yeah,
beautiful,
it's a great
good
sci-fi
sounding.
movie.
If you like
fun
waiting in
movies,
line to go see something, go watch it this weekend.
There's some really awesome set pieces that take it away from being a Star Wars movie into, like, a really good sci-fi movie, where you could put those scenes in other science fiction movies and they'd be so good.
Yeah.
Be so good. Okay.
But anyway, let's take this moment. We're gonna go into spoiler territory here. So this is the part of the
30
video.
seconds to jump out.
Yeah, you have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds or so. We're gonna go into spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want us to spoil it, then you might want to pause the video or look down in the description and look for the time frame when we finish the spoiler stuff. So it will be clearly noted in the description below. So this is your one and only warning. You have been warned. And with that in mind, let's take the bus into Spoiler Town.
Talk to the guy with the pages and notes here first.
All the things that I said leading into the spoiler thing, I was like, it's good, go see it. I am the Death Star, and I'm about to fudging obliterate
Alderaan is the...
Okay, well,
I almost
before
went
we
to,
start
like,
obliterating
naughty
things...
word talk, because I'm so into this.
Before we start obliterating things, let's start off with what was our favorite scene or scenes in the movie? Starting with Kelsey.
Starting with me.
Like, what was your favorite moment?
It's a little ridiculous too. I feel like the more if I watch it again, I won't like this as much. But first viewing, when she light speeds that cruiser through the ships, that was
really
amazing.
Yeah.
Did you remember hearing the whole audience when that happened? They're like, "Oh!"
Yeah, everyone. Oh,
and everyone was like dead quiet, and like
you can hear like your body noises because it's just so silent.
Well, they cut all the audio off on it, and I even heard one guy behind me was like, "Oh, kind of cool. They didn't turn the audio on," and then suddenly the sound comes back, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like that was I was like, "Why didn't they do that sooner?"
Man, I've always thought that's a cool concept. Me and my friends play a Star Wars like D&D, and I am the dungeon master, and I have that set up, and I've had that set up for like years in this giant overarching story about a ship doing that, and they did it. I was like, oh!
You found your nuts. One of your friends took a selfie picture and texted it.
I'm glad they did it. There was a couple things in my notes that it's like, I'm not taking credit for because a lot of people have probably thought of it, but it's like, as a fan, things I've always wanted to see happen in Star Wars, and a couple of them happened, and I was like, yes.
Well, it's funny because the hyperdrive thing, like go into light speed into the enemy ship. I remember at the end of Rogue One, you see a couple of the rebel ships, they go to leave and they go into hyperspace, but like either it's like a half second later or just as one is about to do it, another one comes in and suddenly they stop and they go. I'm like, whoa, what would have happened if they actually smashed into each other? Now we know.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
My concept was like a Star Destroyer into a planet. Like the planet it'd be like just as bad as a Death Star probably. Like a cool visual. Anyways, I thought that scene was awesome. It reminded me of Clone Wars, where Obi-Wan is chasing Jango Fett through the asteroids, and he's letting off the mines, and then explode, goes silent, and they go blah. Like it was the same, and that was one of my favorite scenes in Clone Wars.
Which is also a nice touch in Battlefront 2.
Yep.
They do that when you drop the bomb; it still makes that exact same sound.
Yep. I really like that scene. I thought that was one of the best scenes. It looked really good. The aftermath, with all the like debris in the background, looks so good.
One of my next favorite scenes visually is inside of that ship when Finn and Phasma are fighting, and there's this fire and carnage behind them, and stormtroopers littered everywhere. Like that looked really, really
BB-8
cool
in the
right
background
afterwards.
with the destroyed walker.
Yeah.
Well, with the AT-AT or the
just the fact that it had
ATST,
the background moving, like it was like it had so much depth to that scene, which was cool, and the fight between. Leading up to the crash of Rey and Kylo Ren versus the guards.
Yeah.
Was so, and then the background drapes.
Every scene in that room looked so cool, just with that red background, like, and the guard standing there.
Yeah.
Like, that visually was
And
very, very
yeah,
neat.
and then like I said, it starts to burn away, and then when they like come to after the lightsaber explodes, you can see it's still all charred there, but you can see out the window.
It's just actually it's an actual window.
Yeah. And that was like, there were some scenes that were definite homages to the original trilogy, and every time you were in that room with Snoke, it was just like Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the room with the
The
Emperor.
red
like,
guards
it just
and,
like
yeah.
punched me in the face every time. I was like, boof.
Yeah,
Like,
big
holy
throne,
nostalgia.
It was a nice red color too.
Yeah.
Like
A
it's
nice deep,
that shade of red was a nice
ominous
deep
red.
Yeah.
ominous red. Yeah.
Yeah, there were even moments that reminded me of the prequel trilogies, too. Like, when they were in that casino town and, like, the stables and stuff, like, I totally got prequel vibes from those.
That was one of
areas.
my things I hated about that movie.
Wasn't a highlight.
But it looked so bad. Like you said, it's a beautiful movie, and it is, but when they went to the casino town and they showed those horse dogs, the CGI, like, it was the episodes 1 through 3 again, and it looked so bad. And
When they had
movie.
they had the little creature head pop out the first time, like when they were in the stable stuff, I'm like, oh, it's the Last Guardian.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
totally.
looked like Trico, 100%.
Yeah,
I
I was
thought that
like,
too.
this is where he ended
Yeah,
up.
Last Guardian, Last Jedi.
Paul, before you start
Crossover.
diving into your Death Star destruction of the movie, your favorite scene.
The opening battle with Poe.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, that's a
man.
strong start for that
It was
movie.
so
Yeah.
well done, and it was very Rogue One-esque. Like with the bombers and them trying to get the bombs out. It was very like
Yeah,
a
it's
World
not
War
working.
II.
Everyone's dying.
Yeah, it was very, very good. More Poe.
Yeah.
Poe was
Poe, like,
so
I think I
good.
mentioned in our first episode that Poe was not my favorite part of Force Awakens. I turned on him totally in this movie. He was awesome.
I loved him in Force
I loved having
Awakens.
him in this movie as much as we had him.
He had the best character arc in this entire movie. Like where he starts to where he finishes. I would have loved more Poe.
I think they got just enough Poe in there. Like more might have.
Do you recall that last scene when they come flying in with in the crash shuttle and they're shooting at him? It's like, no, don't shoot us, we're friendly. And then like BB-8 comes out, he's like, BB-8!
Yeah.
Like he didn't care about the
Puts
other
his
two,
hand
he
on
just
it.
cares about my droid. My droid!
Yeah.
I felt that
He had a lot of good moments.
you could have sent Finn and Poe to the casino planet, cut Rose out because she was really
She
pointless.
was not meaningful unless they're trying to have some weird love triangle in 9 now, which I don't think would work.
And the whole story with Holdo, like she was a waste of a character. Like you definitely could have had
Yeah.
Poe and Finn go to that planet because they set up a really good buddy cop thing with them in the first movie. Continued it when Finn walks out in his suit and he's leaking water and pours
Yeah,
up to him.
that was pretty funny.
I would
start
have loved
there,
to see
yeah.
more of their dynamic.
And
do
that-
more with both of them.
Okay, before we get into some other stuff, we still need to hear your favorite scene too. If it wasn't one of those two.
I'm probably gonna go with the ship going into Lightspeed into the other ones. Was such awesome because especially with that build up with Rey and Kylo Ren fighting over each other over the lightsaber in the middle, and like
Yeah.
it split just as she fired into the.
Yeah.
But there was also the scene where Kylo Ren was at the last second deciding not to shoot Rey. Not to shoot Leia. He was like, you could sit there like that was like the one thing in the trailer where like it was like, how is Carrie Fisher disappearing from the films? Like, are they actually going to kill her off?
And that landing.
Or not? And that shot where he's just sitting there and you see the thumb coming down, you're like, is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? But then he didn't do it. And then the other two TIE fighters, like,
They didn't
okay,
hesitate, yeah.
It just,
And then that led into the worst scene of the movie.
He leaned over to me right when those rockets hit and like the whole crew came out. Leia was dying. Like I was pretty emotional at that point and like pretty crazy that it happened so early. And then when she like force pulled herself back in, Paul leans over to me. He's like, "This just ruined the whole movie for me." Like, he's
that I
20
was
minutes in.
I was kind of going with that too. I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah, it was. We've never seen anything like that in Star Wars before. Like she's in the vacuum of space, frozen. She's
Or in the
somehow-
process of freezing, somehow.
It doesn't matter. It's instantaneous. She somehow force pulls herself and survives back into the ship. I was like, oh my.
And then she's good to go like hours later.
Yeah, it was. It looked really bad. It played out really bad. It was the worst scene in the movie. Having her, because I don't think she's a great actress. All of her scenes weren't really good in this movie.
Her voice seems weird and forced too.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Like,
it is about it.
She could be the worst performance in the movie, in my opinion. And it was a...
Rose had some moments.
I was gonna say
yeah,
Rose
was
was the
pretty
best
bad,
one.
yeah. And, like, having your opportunity to get Leia out in something that's going to be
And,
impactful.
yeah.
Because, like, Kylo Ren doesn't kill her, and then the other ones kill her. And they never even touched on Kylo Ren not knowing she was dead after that scene. Because they blew it up. And that should
That's
have been
true.
a huge character moment where he's all torn up and that's part of his struggle, and then he finds out she's still alive, and he's like, ah.
Yeah, because you think that even in the midst of him doing the battle and everything, there would have been that, oh crap, she's still alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, they never touched on that, and I thought that was a huge missed
Because
opportunity.
he can obviously sense Luke from across the galaxy. He can sense his mommy.
Yep, especially if she's using the Force to survive the vacuum of space. Huge missed opportunity. Huge missed opportunity. Because what are they going to do with her in the next movie? CGI? I don't want that.
Well, I have a feeling that
It was
because
okay in Rogue One.
I think
But
she's
for a whole movie.
I think she's just gonna get written out. It's gonna be like, oh, she was on this planet. Oh, it blew up. She's gone.
Or
and
just
that
she's
would be
not
the-
important to the story and you just don't touch her.
No,
But there's
that's-
so few Resistance left. She has to be a part of that.
And she's such a huge part of the story. She's one of the children born of Anakin Skywalker at the end of episodes 1 through 3. She is Princess Leia, like, heading up the Resistance, sister of Luke Skywalker in episodes 4 through 6.
Mhm.
She, she's Kylo Ren's mother in episodes
Yeah, at the
7
end,
and 8. To not have her or to write her off screen, if that's what happens, like, Disney, you have really, really misunderstood what's going on.
But the thing though is that because now that Carrie Fisher has passed away, what can they do? Are they gonna CG animate her back in?
That's what I hope not,
Like-
because it looked really bad. Like, why wouldn't they kill her off in that movie?
with her and Luke gone after this movie, like there is no human character from the
Lando,
original trilogy.
No.
Possibly, like who else could they even bring back besides him? They've got Chewie,
More
they got
Chewie
R2, they got C-3PO. No one else from the original trilogy still alive, I don't think.
Mon Mothma?
Han Solo joins the Force.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Was she in this movie? Did I just
No.
miss her?
No.
How do we know she's still alive then?
She never did. Well, there's no... All the extended canon's gone. She doesn't die in...
I just
The
feel like it's
original
been
trilogy.
a long
Is-
enough time frame, and we've pretty much seen everyone who lives, who is part of the Resistance.
They
still.
had Mon Mothma in Rogue One.
Yeah, but that was prior to New Hope, right?
Maybe she died of old age. I don't know.
That's
Is-
just what I'm
Is
assuming.
Boba Fett still alive?
We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah,
Because I know they've said like in comics and stuff he escaped the
But
Sarlacc
they
pit.
They've...
reset
But he
all
would
that
be
canon.
pretty
Yeah.
old at this point though too.
Yeah. He'd be pretty old. They
Yeah.
also...
He'd be in about Han Solo's age in Force Awakens, right? They're pretty similar
Yeah.
in age.
Unless,
no, he'd
unless
be younger.
Younger?
Because
Well-
Han Solo's older than Luke, and Luke's in his 20s. Yeah, they might be. Yeah, they'd probably be
Pretty
pretty
close.
close to the same age.
So
Yeah.
because
still
if they
function.
brought Boba Fett in like Deathstroke-esque, where they bring in a bounty hunter to be like a, hey, we need you to do guerrilla tactics stuff. All right, I'm on it. I'm an old guy with knows explosives and I have a sword and a laser blaster and whatnot. That'd be interesting to see.
That's gonna be like
They got
They're
they got
gonna-
they,
they're-
they got 2 years because it's gonna be 2
Yeah.
years before we get the next one.
We're
Yeah,
all
but
we're all
they-
sad and disappointed with Leia's death, right?
but
Or
real
not
quick,
undeath.
with the Boba Fett thing. This will lead in kind of, I hope, to what Kelsey's saying. They're gonna have so much crammed into the next Star Wars movie that they have to explain now. That I don't know if adding Boba Fett is
I'm okay with them not explaining everything. I like leaving a bunch of loose ends.
But the way they did it, unless it's like a swerve. Okay, what were you gonna say before I start tearing this down more?
What about Luke's death? It
I
also
was okay
felt
with it.
not impactful to me.
Yeah, it was kind of cheap. I was okay with it. Like, I'm okay with the way it happened.
I'm not. I would have been much more satisfied if he actually
Have a
died
showdown?
facing Kylo
Yeah.
Ren, not just getting tired doing like an astral
yeah.
projection.
I was so expecting him to pull an Obi-Wan where Kylo Ren was going to slash him and he
Yeah,
would just
That's
disappear
what
in the
I
robe.
wanted.
that would have been
I wanted him
perfect.
to have the lightsaber and then put the lightsaber down and then
But-
hit him and then he disappears.
But I knew something was up because when it showed Luke and he activated his lightsaber, it was the blue lightsaber. I was
It
like,
just got torn in
and
half.
I was like, it just got torn in half.
Wouldn't Kylo realize that? He was in the room tearing
Yeah.
it in half, like,
Yeah.
how long ago? Like, a couple hours before that?
And not to see the iconic, like we have the blue lightsaber with Rey. Give me Luke and his green lightsaber at the end of it fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because he made himself look
Well, I think-
younger. Like, I assume so Kylo would kind of recognize him a little better. So he could have easily projected his green lightsaber.
also,
But I think that was also supposed to be, they did that on purpose because that was supposed to be a hint of that's not Luke.
But
Yeah,
we
but-
already knew it wasn't because his hair was like shoulder length.
But
before and
as soon as you
gray
saw the
and-
blue lightsaber, that to me was, wait, that's not him. Because if it was the green one, then you would have thought, oh yeah,
And
that's him for
the
sure.
the same thing, like you could tell it wasn't him right away too, because they were really focused on showing when Kylo moved his feet, they had that like red ash stuff come up from under him. Luke never had that.
Yeah.
He was just
Oh,
walking
okay.
and not having the red footprints.
Did Luke and Kylo's lightsaber ever connect?
I don't know. He did that really unfortunate
So-
Matrix dodge.
They ignite the lightsabers, they run at each other, something happens and I can't remember it, and then they separate again, and then you see Luke's foot not move the sand, and then they run and he does the terribly CGI'd duck under
The
lightsaber
Matrix
move. Their
dodge,
lightsabers
yeah.
don't touch again, and then
He
Kylo
did
stabs him.
after that like duck though. He did a really cool like little
Yeah,
flippy
spin
spin
back out
thing.
of it.
And then he did the most ridiculous thing in the movie for me was he like wiped his shoulder.
Oh, I thought that was
Oh,
funny.
I thought
hated
that was the worst. That was like
And the wink.
80s action movie like garbage that I love in 80s action movies. I don't want that in a Star Wars movie.
And the
That seems so
C-3PO
out of
wink,
character.
Too, was so out of character. It was
Yeah.
like, give the wink to him. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
That shoulder swipe ruined that moment for me.
So, I don't know if their lightsabers ever connect. I'll have to watch it again.
I don't think they did.
I couldn't remember. As soon as that scene happened and it was like Luke's projection, I was like, did the lightsabers touch? Like, it doesn't- but he gives Leia, and this is
The
also
dice.
dumb,
The Force dice?
from Han Solo's, and he drops in his hand, and they're tangible.
Yeah.
And then he finds them later, and they,
They
disappear. I was
disappear.
like, what is going on here? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that being said, when it shows Luke standing there and Kylo's there, and you're looking at Luke's back, Kylo's there and all the ships and the sunrise. Oh, what a powerful scene! That
Yeah.
looks so beautiful. Like
It was
Seven Samurai, Kurosawa.
Yeah,
that looks
that was
so
another one of those
good.
moments that looked amazing, but it's stupid because he was literally just talking about like get our full forces down there, everything. It's like here's 10 AT-ATs and one battering ram.
Well, that's probably all they had left because the rest of their stuff just got nuked by a hyperdrive.
He's got more than that. It's the First Order.
Yeah,
like,
but at the time, like right there.
one
maybe
battering
not.
ram.
That is true because everything.
But
that-
the battering ram was Death Star technology, so maybe they use it. They only have one.
I don't know.
And it was on
and
Snoke's
they
ship.
only had maybe like 20 ties too. Like, it just seemed like a really tiny force when he said, "I want everything there."
Yeah, but all the ties could have got destroyed in the giant explosion.
Not all.
That's
20. Like,
that
there
is
was hundreds of thousands of people there. Prior to that.
minuscule to the other stuff that happened
Yes.
in that movie that was bad.
Yeah.
Like that is so low on my like. Oh, that's dumb.
That bothered me a lot that they had this tiny force there.
Once again, before. Okay, this was another like glaring. The homage of the final battle scene to Hoth was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Like the big set
Right.
battle piece.
actually, if I can add in my note here because this is a good timing.
Yeah.
Do you feel this movie was more of a, and I'm kind of leading this from Force Awakens because I had an issue with it. This movie was basically Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, just mushed together in slightly different chronological order.
Yeah, it's exactly what.
Because
that
to
was.
me, A Force Awakens was basically
It was
A New Hope,
Yeah, 100%.
and this one was Return of the Jedi and the whole Hoth battle scene and the Empire's coming up on us and capturing us, whatnot, all smushed together into one movie.
Well, and it was also you had because Empire Strikes Back starts off on a planet with a big battle scene. This movie starts with a big battle scene. Then you go to a very long chase scene through space between Han Solo and the Empire.
World's
Yeah.
slowest chase scene.
And then you go, yeah, and then you go through. Then you go to a group of people go to another planet to figure something out, and then you have somebody training on another planet,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come back to the chase scene where they kind of all get captured, and then there's another big battle scene.
And then they're in the Emperor's throne room,
Yeah.
quote
Yeah.
unquote.
So it played out.
Porgs instead of Ewoks.
Yeah, porgs instead of Ewoks.
Well,
Which,
just-
granted,
Just the way that
they-
the movie plays out was
porgs were cute, but there obviously were a product that were made to sell toys. Because did
Yeah.
you hear everybody when they first showed them? I could hear people in the audience like, "Oh, they're so cute." I'm like, "Yeah, but they
the
don't
porgs
serve
and the
any
horse
plot."
dogs are money
And
grabs.
the crystal foxes
Crystal
too.
foxes, yeah.
Yeah.
Money grabs for sure. Shill.
The crystal foxes. On that note, those weren't CG.
Oh yeah,
they
I saw
actually,
the
they actually
animatronics
physically.
for-
That's
for
like an
those,
actual
yeah.
puppet.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fox. And there might be
was-
some, there might be some parts of it detailed, like maybe add more crystals to CG it, but it's an actual prop.
Yeah, I remember seeing them show that off.
I'll start crossing my stuff off.
Okay, you're talking about that last scene, how it was like Hoth. Another thing that bothered me about that was they had such a small force. I think they said they had 13 ships.
The
And then
13
just
skimmers.
coincidentally, like the 3 that survived are the 3 characters that we need
They're
to
better
survive,
pilots.
kind of thing. Rose isn't a pilot. She's like a
No,
maintenance worker.
She's an
not.
engineer.
Yeah.
That's all she is.
Finn's not really a pilot
And Finn
either.
can't even figure out how to drive the thing. He needed her to
Finn-
explain it.
In Force Awakens, had never flown a ship. That's
Yeah.
why he gets Poe to help him get off that ship, because
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to fly. So
And I don't know how I felt about taking that moment from Finn. I was really thinking he was
Oh, right.
driving right into that battering ram. I was 100% sure that was happening.
yeah, and that was so pointless. That whole battle scene served no point.
Like just them being in the bunker, like, oh, there's no way to escape. Oh wait, there's a way to escape. It just was very convenient too. And you were talking about the bad
We
CG.
built this bunker. We looked at the schematics. This is the only way in and out. Who the hell built this?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
idiots.
Yeah, as a resistance base, like.
You always need to have an exit.
But you were talking about bad CG that took you out of it. The moment for me was when Ray lifted those rocks at the end. Those looked terrible. Those were ugly rocks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I don't know if it's just because they're in 3D or what, but they looked really fake.
Tell you though, it was probably CG, but it was CG that was well done. When Ray was using her force for the first time, the little rocks were rising up.
Yeah, that was fun.
That looked
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
looked really good.
Yeah.
The scene where she goes into the dark side tunnel and she touches like the ice wall or whatever. The
That
mirror.
was weird.
I thought that was awesome. I thought that was
It
really
reminded
well done.
me of that really cheesy scene in Conan the Barbarian, or Conan the Destroyer,
Yeah,
where they got the mirror room.
definitely, yeah. And the monster with the loop.
The poop monster,
yeah.
But better than that, obviously.
So because we're on that scene, and that was kind of the confirmation scene. I feel like they didn't fully confirm, or at least for me, unless I missed it for a half second. Did they confirm that Rey's parents were just nobodies?
Yeah.
I think when
Kylo
Kylo
did.
talked about it later, and with that scene combined, I think that kind of confirms
But I
it.
don't know if it's a swerve. Like it
Because
Sure, could
because
be.
for me, and then go back to the game theory video that I watched. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, film
what was
theory.
their theory? I
The
haven't actually
theory
seen
was is that Rey and Ben are brother and sister.
Mhm. Yeah.
That because they knew when Ben, Kylo Ren,
Not-
went against the first Jedi Order, they put Rey purposely in hiding.
Yeah.
On Jakku.
So it's Leia's daughter, or Han had another.
Leia
Leia
and
and
Han's
Han's,
daughter.
yeah.
Because
'Cause
how would Rey know about the Millennium Falcon? How would she know how it runs?
Yeah.
Even though she did technically live on that planet pretty much all her life, so she could have interacted with it at any time.
But she did interact with it in Force Awakens. She talks about how she helped when they installed all the stuff that Han was bitching about in it.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Oh, I said they shouldn't do that either. It was a bad idea."
But she flew it like a natural pilot.
Yeah.
Like how would she know how to do that? She's never flown a pilot.
She also talks about, because Finn's like, "We don't have a pilot," and she's like, "I'm a pilot." Finn's like, "You're a pilot?" So there must be some kind of
But
training there.
that same scene though, when like they're like Finn's getting in the gun cockpit and
Yeah.
she's getting into the main cockpit of the ship, and he's like, "I can do this, and she's like, "I can do this, Like
Yeah.
They're
that,
learning
to
on
me,
the
that
fly,
sounds
yeah.
like this is your trial by fire, learn how to
But
fly.
I assume she just had that like such strong force attunity that she was picking things up faster than a normal person would.
and I kind of felt that she had some kind of previous being on that planet as
Sure,
like a
she's
lackey.
probably flown some stuff
Yeah.
for a boss at some point. Or, yeah.
Um,
I liked Rey a lot in this movie.
she was way better than
She
in
was
this
one of my
than the
favorite
first one.
parts. Yeah.
her and Kylo, all of their scenes were
yeah.
well done. They were great.
When they were reaching out to each other through the force and realizing they could like physically interact, like when he had the water drops on him and they touched, like those were so cool.
That made me like.
And I don't mind them adding new like force powers like that. I thought was really neat.
Kylo was really awesome in that movie.
Such a big step up.
Really that one part where like they touched and Luke came in and then like you could see him sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, they just teleported him. But then like Luke made like a force like wave and like then Kylo was gone. I'm like, oh, okay. I actually thought that they actually brought him there.
Kylo saying to Rey that her parents are nobody could be a clever swerve because like that was so underwhelming. Her like the reveal of who her parents were. Kylo saying, well, your parents are nobody because she doesn't want her to get like this big power boost to know that her parents are Han and Leia.
I don't think it's a swerve. I think it's a callback to episode 1 again, where Anakin's mom was a nobody.
Yeah.
And I don't think she needs that lineage.
She doesn't.
And they showed at the end, like, there's a lot of other people that could be force sensitive. That kid, like, pulls the broom to him right at the end before the credits.
Thank you for confirming that. That one thing I was sitting there last night going, did that kid force pull the broom to him? I'm sure he did because he stood there because it was leaning up against the wall. And then I saw his hand come out and then it went, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, did I miss that? Like, think about that.
So I was not the only one who was tripping out on that part.
I'm pretty confident that happened. And so I think that also confirms that her parents could just be whatever.
Well, because Luke even says, he's like, the Force isn't just for the Jedi and the Sith. Yeah. The Force is in which is something that they've talked about but never really confirmed. And I've always thought it's a really awesome concept that, you know, you don't, like, where did all the Jedi come from originally? Like, that everybody's Force sensitive. It also explains...
It's either has to be a spark or it has to always have been there.
And it explains, like, how, like, a lot of the stuff that happens in Rogue One, it explains Han Solo's ability to get through some things, like, and I can remember that theory that I had that the Force is like
a living entity
manipulating things. Paul's theory confirmed.
He kind of talked about it like that, like saying like you got the dark, you've got the light, in everything. You just need to find that balance, kind of thing. And
I got it all up here, Kelsey.
Yeah,
I got it all. Up
someone
here.
Photocopied your notes and sent them to Disney.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kylo was really good. Rey was really good. The Snoke was a big disappointment. So let's go. So since we talked about Rey, let's talk about the things because we had some questions.
There's a lot more to talk about with Rey too. Like
just the parents, because there's what we wanted to see coming out of Force Awakens. Rey's parents, Snoke.
I wanted to see her training as well.
Yes, I wanted more training.
Yeah.
Which seemed like a cop out, but it also is like she's so powerful in the Force she doesn't need training. Are you okay with that?
I am, especially with Luke 2 being already scared off by one guy who is too powerful in the Force. Like I can get his reluctance to train and the little that he did with her made sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Obi-Wan was going to show up. I did like that Yoda showed up. That was kind of cool.
I liked that Yoda showed up. I didn't like a lot of what he did and said.
Yeah. In my mind, while that scene was playing out, I was playing out what should be happening. Yoda should have appeared in the background and said something to him. And then the lightning hits that tree. And then Luke goes to run in there. And then Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, comes out. He's like, there's nothing in there for you, old friend.
Especially now that they're doing an Obi-Wan movie, like, throw him in there. Like,
and then, because that would have been so perfect. Just instead of having him be blown out of it, Obi-Wan stops him.
Right.
And then the three of them sit and have a conversation about...
They've never said before either that Force ghosts can interact with things. Like, that was pretty big revelation, I thought, too, that Yoda had that ability to, lightning strike something that was beyond death. Like,
it necessarily wasn't Yoda. It was the Force.
That was
activating.
Yoda.
No, that was not Yoda.
Didn't Yoda, put his hand up and went, snapped his fingers?
Yeah, that's what I remember happening, too.
I'll have to watch that again. Because if Yoda lifts his hand and snaps his fingers and lightning comes down,
he motioned to the sky.
Why did he do that to everybody he ever fought? Why wouldn't he just burn them to a crisp?
That's one of the reasons I didn't like what he did or said there. What he was saying. Like, I thought he had played a big part in that.
So we covered how we feel about... Like, I feel it's kind of a cop-out with Rey, but it's cool because it opens up this new theory that everybody can be Force sensitive. Snoke.
One thing...
That was one of my bigger disappointments in this movie.
I wonder if it's one of those moments that I maybe missed something. did they confirm who Snoke was?
No.
We don't know anything
that was
about
one of the
Snoke
things that
still.
was driving me nuts. I'm like, who is he? He's obviously not the Emperor, but he could be. But is he maybe a long-living
How does
Sith
someone
Lord
that
that's been
powerful
sitting in the
appear
shadows?
out of nowhere after the Emperor was gone so quickly?
So
Why is he in charge of the First Order? How did he meet Kylo? Like,
there was some
Whoa,
canon
there's-
stuff that came out in like a, it was like a lead up to Force Awakens, or it's in canon. It was like a comic or a graphic novel or something like that.
mhm.
And it said that, and this was a big theory about where Snoke comes from. They went, the Emperor reached out into uncharted space outside of the known galaxy, looking for Force-sensitive powers. Out there, he got a ping back in communications that something existed out there, and that a lot of people thought that was Snoke. That's where Snoke comes from, and that's a good theory to me. I like that. Like, the Emperors brought this other evil force in because they sensed each other's powers, and they came to kind of meet. And just Snoke got there after the Emperor was dead.
Did they say how that worked with the Sith Rule of 2?
Because it's outside of it, like it could have been in another galaxy where they don't follow the Rule of 2. Because the Rule of 2 hasn't always been how the Sith operate. That only came into...
But that's always how Palpatine has operated.
Yeah, but that
No.
doesn't mean other Sith have to follow that.
Right, but he's very much involved with reaching out to Snoke, or did Snoke reach out to him? Am I misinterpreting
He
that?
was reaching out to find other powers. So
Which
the
one's
Emperor,
he?
The
The Emperor. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, that doesn't go with that Rule of 2 that he's kind of been
But
following.
the Emperor was also training replacements for Vader now in canon when Vader was still alive.
Oh, okay.
So
well, yeah,
the Emperor doesn't even follow it.
Yeah, because look at the end of Return of the Jedi, where he was basically saying, "Hey, you're now going to take your father's place."
But it was strike him down and you will become my new lad.
Yeah, but he was basically he has this weird. The Emperor has this weird premise of like, "Oh, hey, my apprentice just died. Well, I'll just go get another one."
So in the Vader comics that they've released that are canon, Vader finds out that the Emperor's doing this, and Vader goes to the facility where they are and he just butchers them all. Just super awesome.
That is cool.
There can
I
only
liked how
be
they
one.
talked about Vader in this movie,
Yeah,
too.
more than they did in the first one.
Yeah.
I really liked all the scenes with Snoke. I thought he was a really cool character.
Yeah, until he wasn't a character anymore. I thought so, too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's so interesting, so cool. Oh, where'd he go?
Yeah, we got
The
no
trick with the
story.
lightsaber was kind of interesting, though.
And I thought that was just going to wound him, and then the guards were going to fight and he was going to escape.
Those guards were hilarious, too. Like, every
Yeah.
time they moved, they'd
Yeah.
all get on stance, and then they'd just get back to normal. They did like 3 times.
Nobody
and then,
else laughed except for me and Kelsey.
Yeah,
Like, "Ha, ha."
and then when the saber goes through them, they don't even budge.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're on defense until they are actually needed, and then they don't do anything. And he kept bragging about how he knew Kylo's intentions like so intimately. How did he not see that coming?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I was thinking was interesting was that because the one lightsaber was positioned, but that's why he also had the lightsaber at Rey. So his intentions were true. He was pointing his lightsaber at the thing he wanted to kill the most, but because he was using the Force to control the other one, it was a sleight of hand.
Maybe because of
basically.
how
Or
much they built up his powers prior to that, it just felt like something he should have seen coming.
I feel this movie's full of a lot of swerves. This could be another swerve to get Kylo fully submerged in the dark side, and the real Snoke is out there still.
Maybe.
It was
Well, no,
clone
there was an actual physical body there. There was no
Snoke. Could have been a
disappeared.
clone.
Yeah,
It easily could have been like a body double or a stand-in.
Yeah.
Or
I thought it was funny
Someone
when
hiding
General
behind the red
Husk.
curtain actually doing the Force
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
I thought it was funny when the General Husk came in there and he saw the throne room and the legs just sit there and then flopped over.
He was really good. in
Hux
this
was
movie.
awesome.
Hux
I liked
was awesome.
a lot of the generals. The general of the big ship that Poe was attacking right at the start.
Yeah.
I thought he was really cool too.
He was really good.
That whole battle, like we breezed over it pretty quick, but like when he like just sped up and instantly stopped and started taking out turrets, like that was really awesome.
And then when he like gets the last turret, speeds up and does the
the
wicked
big
move and gets
swerve?
behind
Yeah.
it. So good.
yeah,
I really liked. There was kind of like some
the bombers though, like that girl like kicking the ladder to like get the
the
thing.
Force.
Like,
I felt the
she was
bomb.
kicking the ladder.
Yeah, but then the Force got it, and that it kind of goes with the rest of the theme of the movie that everybody has the ability to do something with the Force. and her doing it at the last minute was like the Force intervening and pushing it.
I guess that's true, because that probably was a little subtle hint.
Yeah.
Because she was kicking it and it was like not moving until eventually there was like, all right.
Yeah.
But I feel like it kind of sucks because I'm looking at the bombers and the TIE silencer, like the two new things that were being introduced to the X-Wings miniature game.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it going, okay, these are the two new ships that are coming in. I love the TIE silencer. It looks really cool.
Sweet.
The bombers, though, were just like, it was like, here they are, and then, we blew them all up except for one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
blow
quick.
itself up. Yeah.
Where's my A-Wing bomber?
A-Wings aren't bombers, though. Y-Wings are.
Y-Wing, sorry.
Yeah,
Where's my
I was
Y-Wing
wondering.
bomber?
Well, they're probably all gone.
Yeah, maybe. Didn't they have some in the last movie?
They
They got blown up.
At what point
don't
is
know.
the Resistance not a Resistance anymore? Because they said they were down to like 400 people.
Yeah.
Like they specifically used that
But
number.
there's people out there that are part of the
But no one
Resistance.
responded to you when you reached out to them. Like that,
They
it
didn't
feels
have time.
feels like it's done. Like it feels like that's Resistance now. Like it's over.
It'll be interesting to see where they go.
And after Starkiller Base and that big destroyer and all the ships that got light speed through, like what is left of the First Order at this point? Like,
they lost 2 big ships in that movie.
Yeah, but countless smaller ones that had hundreds or thousands of people on them.
Yeah,
like,
because they had the Dreadnought, and then they had Snoke's ship, which
Dreadnought,
would have been
thank you. I couldn't
the
remember what
main
the
big
main
ship.
ship.
yeah, that's like their super.
But yeah, it's gone now too, or at least it's severely damaged.
Yeah, that one, like, I think only the people that were directly in the line of fire may be dead, because like obviously, it was a little ridiculous how like every stormtrooper, like there was like battalions
there
of
was
them in there,
thousands
were
of them,
gone,
and they were all
and Finn's
gone.
fine, and he's not wearing any armor, and Rose is fine, and
Do you think Phasma will come back in the third movie? I
Yes.
think yes.
yeah.
I hope not, because this would have been like a really good Boba Fett opportunity
Well,
for
she
them
is,
to kill her
isn't
like
she?
that. Yeah.
Well, no, because I remember saying they're like, oh yeah, we brought Phasma back in, we're giving her justice and stuff. I felt no, you just basically tossed her back in the garbage disposal again. But
And
I
they
think because
waited
the way
until
that
the
they had
end,
her
too.
mask crack and she was looking at him,
Yeah.
I'm
Burn
like,
face
oh, she's
next
coming
time
back.
with a burn face.
Yeah.
And a real extra anger for Finn.
We got away from this. I was talking about it earlier, but it was the lots of really good guessing through the training of Rey, of her turning to the dark side, like they hinted at it, and Kylo turning to the light side, like they played with that a lot, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Really good scene. It added like an extra depth that I was interested in to see.
What did you think of him losing the helmet immediately too?
I was fine with it
Yeah.
because it helped with like the character and the emotion and stuff like
I
that.
did like Snoke's take that ridiculous thing off.
And he had his little hissy fit at the start that he had like all the way through Force Awakens. He just had the one, and like, well, I guess he had another one near the end too. But yeah,
I like that.
It made
a
sense.
lot. So we talked about Snoke being let down. We talked about Rey's lineage being not what we expected. No mention of the Knights of Ren at all in this
I don't
movie.
remember a single nod to them.
And they were a kind of a big deal in the first movie. Disappointed in that, excited about that. Will they be a huge role in the next movie?
They're probably gonna have to be, because now if Kylo Ren's in charge, he can be like, beep beep bop boop, yo, I need your help.
Yeah.
Are people going to take him seriously as a leader at this point? Like, they've seen him have raging hissy fits all through one movie, and they've seen him fail miserably multiple times through the second movie.
They also saw him whip Hux against the wall.
That's
Which was
true, yeah.
hilarious. Like, who's going to be like, no, I'm not following you.
It's like, we're not gonna do that. Well, bam, and the one guy's like, yes, my lord, I'm right on it. It's like,
Exactly. Rule through fear is like the Darth Vader thing.
oh, the other thing I was gonna say was because I was waiting for because we were talking about when he was having the hissy fit, and I was thinking about the stormtroopers, like in the first one where they come around the corner, and they're like, nope. I was trying to think to myself, what were there any good moments of like a extra character had some good moments, and the guy who just immediately said, yeah, no, I'm definitely on it right away, and then the scene where Poe is trying to contact the Dreadnought or Husk, and he's like,
That
hello,
was really
hello,
good.
holding for Husk, hello, I'm on, can you hear me? Like, he's obviously stalling for time.
There was so much more humor in this than any other Star Wars movie I've seen.
Yeah.
And half of it I thought was really good, and half of it was so silly and ridiculous I didn't want it there. Like the Luke brushing his shoulder, or like the Porg with the teary eyes when Chewbacca
I thought that was
gonna...
so adorable.
I didn't want that moment.
I wasn't into it. It's too Phantom Menace for me.
Yeah.
We need to, and I could see like They're trying to get every audience,
And
and this is the movie they did the best at that at.
Yeah, like when we were driving home after, because my wife and son were with me, this is the only one of the last 3 Star Wars movies that he's come to where he stayed awake for the whole thing. And he was talking about it on the way home. Like he was genuinely excited, whereas he just comes, because we go usually. Yeah. He's not a big Star Wars kid, but he's coming home. He's talking about Porgs and like evil BB-8 was so funny. And when BB-8 was in the AT-ST at the end, like he's like, that was one of my favorite parts. And like those little humor moments that I thought were silly and shouldn't have been in the movie, those were like his highlights of the movie.
Holdo.
Ugh.
Who was that?
Jessica.
Oh, the girl
Laura
who ran
Dern.
the...
She took over Leia's pole.
I didn't like her at the beginning, but then obviously she redeemed herself by doing the thing at the end. But
they could have had anybody else do that. They could have done it remotely.
I thought
Rose could have done that.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have Leia do that at the last second.
That would have been a better death again,
really
too.
Good
missed opportunity
to do it. But they didn't. One interesting thing, because Laura Dern, who plays Holdo, was one of the main characters in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
They had a really big Jurassic Park nod in the movie. Do you remember it?
No.
In the movie?
In the movie.
Oh, what did I miss?
When they release all the dog horses and running through the casino,
it
cuts to a cup of water on a table, still, then it ripples and it ripples and it ripples and it runs by. That is so Jurassic Park. Like, so Jurassic Park.
I don't know if you could consider that a call to Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park definitely first did it, but there's been so many movies that have all done that now.
And they've all been called to Jurassic Park.
Okay,
it's an iconic moment from that movie, totally.
Definitely, and having an actress from it in there, like that was totally like a Jurassic Park. She was a waste of time. She was a pointless character that we could have done with it.
So why was there a cup of tea sitting on a table and there was nobody around to drink it?
Exactly.
And why, when you have such a small crew that I'm assuming is all trusted at this point, like it's not like you're big enough to have like maybe moles, why does she keep the plan secret from Poe the whole time, who obviously is quite respected there?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like, it was that was like,
seemed forced to have some more conflict in the movie.
So that part of the movie, like the movie started off really good and then it really sagged in the middle, but it had spikes. Like every time it cut to Rey and Kylo was awesome, but anything else that had to do with Finn and Rose, Benicio del Toro's DJ.
I liked the character, but he seemed like he didn't need to be in the movie.
Was that
the hacker?
The hacker guy?
I didn't.
He was also pointless and dumb. It was a waste of Benicio del Toro. He should have been a general.
I thought it was when they first showed him, I'm like, wait, is this one character that like the internet keeps mentioning? Is this some sort of Star Wars character that might be canon but not officially canon? That
a lot of people thought it was. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but the main character of Rebels, the kid. A lot of people thought it was going to be the adult Ezra. They thought it was going to be grown-up Ezra, which would have worked for me.
But Ezra's a Jedi, though.
He could have been a Jedi. Because leading into it, they didn't know he was just a computer hacker.
Right.
Like, he could have been... That has knowledge of blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Benicio del Toro is such an awesome actor. He could have been such a wicked, like, bad general. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been... I feel that this stuttering idiot, like, greasy Han Solo ripoff was such a waste of time. We didn't need him. They could have easily figured out some other way for Finn to get on the ship without Rose... with Poe.
I enjoyed watching the scenes with him. Like Benicio del Toro is always interesting to me.
He's
but like you said,
really
there's no point to him being there.
It was a waste of Benicio del Toro, I feel.
What do you think of just that storyline not paying off in general, having that big red herring where the whole plan of the movie like basically didn't pan out?
We didn't need it.
And we spent, I want to say, like hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes on that part, and like it didn't amount to anything.
That whole storyline was just so bad.
I'm just looking at our time here. We probably gotta start wrapping this up here.
I got
a lot more.
I don't have a lot. Like, I did Knights of Ren.
I have a question.
Benicio del Toro.
Did the movie feel too long?
No. I had no problem with the length.
Talking about the casino world and the Benicio del Toro stuff, yeah, it did. They could have cut a lot of them.
I think
I was sitting there going, like, I was thinking, it's like, okay, we're probably we're at the point where like a normal movie's done and stuff, and I'm sitting there going, I haven't seen Phasma yet. So
Yeah,
like
she
obviously
showed
there's
up
more
real
to
late.
come. I'm like, but there's no Phasma yet. So I'm like, good God, how long is this movie?
Well, and they did like the false ending where they're like, yeah, we have a plan, we're going to escape, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're on the ship, and then they do that red herring. Like, that was a good ending.
Yeah, I thought that was
That
going
would
to
have
be
been
the
a
ending.
cool like Empire ending. Like
Yeah.
everything's falling apart, everyone's in mortal
But they-
danger.
yeah,
like
they gave it this weird, happy ending after all the bad stuff, just to
Yeah.
show that Kylo Ren's a boob. Like, Luke Skywalker, or Mark Hamill,
hmm
maybe his best performance.
That's a low bar though.
Yeah, it's a low bar, but he was utilized very well in this, minus the shoulder brush and the wink. I thought he was really good in the movie.
Yeah.
I really
For the most
liked
part, I
what he
feel
brought.
like he had some other silly jokes while he was on his island that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I enjoyed him. It was nice seeing him again.
I liked the
I can't believe Frank Oz and is it Anthony Daniels
Yeah.
are still alive and doing those roles. Like that was crazy to see that in the credits. I just
Yeah.
assumed they were other people at this point.
I knew Frank Oz was in it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. But
Remind me on.
C-3PO and
Yoda.
and Yoda were
Oh,
like
okay.
the original actors. Like that's pretty nuts. So.
Gotta give him props for actually using the Yoda puppet
Mm-hmm.
instead of just going the CG route.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're
and I'm
much better.
really happy. Like I complained about Yoda earlier, but I'm really happy that he appeared and talked to Luke. Like
Yeah.
I think that was important. But he's just
One thing I probably have to say with these newer movies is that there are certain stuff, granted, but they obviously are trying to go more practical effects compared to visual effects.
Yep.
just smart.
And I was gonna say that was my next point. I liked all the creatures that they had in the movie. Like, it was a really cool kind of nod back to the original one, original
Yeah,
trilogy.
you could see them trying to force like a Mos Eisley feel to the casino. Like you had the little like Scottish looking thing throwing
Yep.
coins at
Oh, the little
BB-8.
leprechaun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the weird opera girl when all the the Tricos were running by her.
Mhm.
And they kept the story simple. Like, we talked about this when we were talking about Force Awakens before, how I really didn't like that movie because they overcomplicated like all the planets they were going to and all the stuff that was happening. Where the original Star Wars movies
Yeah.
were so simple. This movie was really
We just
simple.
need to survive.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like we didn't go to a bunch of different planets. Everything was very, you know.
The
a
one thing
ship
I didn't
chasing
get
a
to
ship.
mention yet, I loved how they addressed shields.
Yeah,
Because all the Star Wars movies, they always talk about shields, but I always see ships getting blown up and stuff. But when they were going along and you saw the little bombardment and it actually hits the shield and does a little dispersal,
boom.
I'm like, they're actually finally showing me how the shields actually work on these ships.
What did you think of the actual like chase quote? Because
what chase?
they're following the
chase.
fleet.
It was kind of
Silly.
silly.
Couldn't they? Yeah, like how they could just call someone coming from the other
wait.
side. They could send some fighters in.
We tracked them through hyperspace. Excuse me?
Yeah,
And that was
That's all
that was
the-
such a big
That
deal.
was
Like that's
such a-
obviously new technology. Like that seems like it'd
Yeah,
be bigger.
but when they tried to explain it, I wasn't following it whatsoever.
Nah, I don't think
It's
we
like,
were,
oh, we
were
have this
meant
one
to.
main ship, and this is how they're tracking stuff. I'm like, okay,
And
that doesn't explain it. to me.
And this was like new technology that everyone's surprised they can do, but Finn and Rose understand it immediately.
immediately.
yeah,
And Rose
Yeah.
had that really like convenience. Like, well, I've heard about this. Really quick. Word of the day. I don't know if you guys noticed this. But,
word of the day is always bird, man.
But they were really pushing this throughout the movie. Said constantly. It was the overarching theme of the movie. Every
Force?
character said it like 4 times.
Force. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hope. They said hope. I'm gonna count how many times hope is said in that movie tomorrow because every it was
Yeah. Well,
Like,
they
that-
brought
a
up
quarter
Leah's
into the
quote
movie.
like 10 times. Like
a quarter into that movie. I was like, holy hope! Like this is killing me.
Paul's hope counter in the bottom screen.
So
they should have snapped pictures of your thesaurus when they were stealing your notes too.
exactly. My exiting thoughts after talking about it.
Yeah. What are your final thoughts?
Like I said, I wanted people to see it, but to me, Last Jedi comes out with a bang on first view. But when pondering the questions leading into this movie and out of this movie, does it go out with a whimper? Because of all the things, missed opportunities, things they could have done, bad explanations of characters, bad use of things.
How hyped are you for episode 9 after watching this?
Not at all.
I feel kind of like that too. Like it.
Is that maybe why the fan ratings on Rotten Tomatoes is a little lower?
Yeah. Like when I left Force Awakens, even watching Force Awakens leading up to this movie, I was like, I am really excited for Force Awakens.
Yeah.
This movie felt like it could be the end of a saga.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
And you've still got one more, like, as part of a literal trilogy. Like, it's supposed to be one overarching story.
I'm not interested in any direction because they didn't leave us on a cliffhanger. They didn't leave us wanting more of a certain character, with the exception of Poe. Like, I feel I've seen as much of Kylo Ren as I need to. His performance is so good.
Because the only thing that you really left out on was, the Resistance is down to 40 people. Yeah. That's it.
Rey.
That's the whole premise of the next movie.
Rey's training's not really done, but where's it? Like, who's gonna do it? I don't really care. She doesn't have contact with Obi-Wan. She doesn't have contact with Yoda.
Does Rey need training though? Because this whole premise about the Force and her being now the last Jedi, whatnot, yada yada. But Jedis are just users of the Force. But if the Force exists in everybody, doesn't that make everybody a Jedi?
Yeah, but I don't care. Like, I don't. It would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, talking to Rey in a vision, to kind of get something with that a little bit later.
Yeah,
because maybe Luke will still pop in and out
because
in that capacity.
You saying like, everybody can use it, blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's one thing. But mastering it without any kind of direction, like, sure, Rey's really powerful in it, but she still needs some kind of direction. And that's kind of what Yoda was saying. Yoda was saying, we don't have to go by these old books. Like, the Jedi way is flawed.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of a master is following, letting your student...
Well, because look back to Luke's comment that he made when the Jedi were at their strongest, they fell apart because they failed with Anakin, while the Sith were not at their strongest and got everything.
Yeah.
So,
balance.
Yeah, balance.
So, like, I want to see more Poe, but what's he going to do from here? I'm tired of Leia.
I think he's the new leader.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he's the obvious choice.
Finn didn't do enough in this movie. Like, the last movie, I was super into Finn.
Finn was kind of a butt, and they pointed that out a bunch of times. Like, he's just a chicken, wants to run away. He's not a good pilot. He's kind of inept and gets caught in the casino. Like,
not interested.
It's really kind of a stinky character.
Not interested in his thing with
Rose,
Rose, and I was really interested to see what was going to happen between him and Rey.
They were so excited. Like, the whole movie was like, I got to keep this beacon going, and then it's like, she's back.
And they didn't even touch on that. There wasn't
And the same thing when I was complaining about them having all their resources that they had left to take down the base. Like, they couldn't see the Falcon like fly behind a rock and go shoot it down or capture them.
Yeah. Like, they made both sides look really inept.
Yeah.
And really dumb. They didn't do
those
anything.
Those new AT-ATs, though, those look amazing.
Yeah.
With the extra armor on them.
Gorilla things.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I thought those looked really, really good.
I do want to see Knights of Ren. I think it's a cool concept and see Rey, like, battle through usually, like, strong warriors. But I'm really afraid, since they didn't mention in this movie,
yeah, that's my feeling too. Is they're gone. You might get a comic book down the road or a little spin-off series or something. Yeah.
Oh, they were alive, but they're dead.
Yeah, they're on another planet. We don't know.
All right, Kelsey, final thoughts.
A little disappointment after watching this, which I've never felt after even watching like the prequels back in the day. Like, I still came off pretty hyped over them. This is the first time I felt a little
deflated,
weak on it. Yeah, and it's a weird feeling because every single Star Wars thing I've seen to this point has been very satisfying.
Yeah, even Rogue One, like, I was super satisfied.
Yeah,
with Rogue One.
But there were still a lot of amazing moments in this movie, and I want to rewatch it again for, like, I want to almost do like my own cut of the movie and just like have like 40 minutes of the stuff I loved out of it and just like watch my highlight reel basically.
Well, I feel because somebody did a cut of episodes 1 through 3 and kind of like combine them.
Yeah.
I feel you could cut Force Awakens into this movie and put it all together and make it like a 3-hour... Because this movie wasn't far from 3 hours. You could make it a 3-hour cohesive movie.
Because Rey shows up at the exact same... at the beginning of the movie, exactly where she left off talking to Luke.
Yeah, they cut in together.
But they had the weird time lapse of like, how long did it take Finn to recover?
Like a day. Just like
basically a day, because Rey had just obviously gone and they're getting out of there, and then like maybe a couple hours later, oh hey, we're running away. Oh, but I'm awake now.
But were they doing the thing that they've kind of alluded to in Empire Strikes Back, where it takes Han and Leia so long while being chased through the asteroid field while Luke's on Dagobah? Like, you think it was only a couple days, but it's actually a couple months. When they were on Cloud City, you know what I mean? Like, is that what happened? Who knows?
Well, because
Rey had to travel to where Luke Skywalker was.
Well, because they're in space, we have no premise of time.
Yeah, exactly.
The only time we have is seeing Rey and Luke sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset.
We have a pretty strict time frame once they do the light speed chase, because they're saying like we have like 18 hours.
We have
and
6
X
hours
amount
left of fuel.
Yeah. At that point onward, it's pretty easy to follow.
The other thing too.
What the weird like fish nuns that live with Luke?
Or whatever.
Yeah, they're probably like you said, those moments where it was just like for the family, for the kids. Ha ha ha! They blew a hole in the wall. Now they got to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, my wagon got.
Yeah, my wagon got crushed.
Yeah, crashed by the big rock.
My final thought is they're gonna have to blow us out of the water on the next one.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it did feel like did dwindle towards the end of it. Because there is no question at the end of this one besides what is the fate of the Resistance now?
Will they survive?
Will they survive? Will they have more people to come and fight the First Order? Will Kylo Ren stop being such a little pussy?
Yeah.
I think maybe, like I said, Poe's the obvious choice, but maybe even if he's the leader, Rey's the figurehead.
She's the Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, but they never really put him up front in the Resistance. It was still, a bunch of like generals leading it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he was the sign of hope because Luke Skywalker was like the beacon for everybody to come to it.
I think Rey needs to put out way more up front. Like she's on like basically the underground posters or people putting up like, look at these amazing things she can do. Yeah. She can save us from this. Like I think she has to be the poster person of
they did that with Luke at the end of this movie when he comes in his Force projection, and it was it's Luke, and he goes out to meet the battles. Everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like, and they did that because Finn in the Force Awakens is like, "Yeah, BB-8 has a map to Luke Skywalker," and Rey's like, "Wait, Luke Skywalker's real."
Yeah,
like they kind of played it up like that.
A little bit of mythology.
I don't want to reopen more discussion here because we do got to start wrapping up here pretty quick. But there was the mention though that Luke had mentioned in the movie though about being a legend.
Yeah,
he wasn't able to save Ben because he was Luke Skywalker and because he was kind of overhyped. But like, no, he's just Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is just a person.
Mm-hmm.
While this one at the end of it was obviously, hey, we need a legend to make a spark of hope.
Yeah, of hope
to ignite more rebels. Hope.
But they also kind of downplayed that, like. A Jedi can't be the legend you're looking for. It has to be like a message as a whole. Like they kind of downplayed like Jedis can't be this linchpin of society anymore.
I don't know if they're going to call Rey a Jedi going forward either. So that might just be their way around that.
They kind of did at the end of it where Luke's like, there's the last Jedi.
I will not be the last Jedi.
Yeah.
He's the last Jedi.
No, and then he said when he was fighting Rey something about like, oh, she's the Jedi now.
I don't buy it though because she doesn't have those texts to like follow Jedi orders. She doesn't have a master to teach her Jedi ways
until much later.
Sure, much later, but he had someone eventually.
Well, look at Yoda.
She's just winging it completely now, unless Force Ghosts are coming to train her.
We'll go back.
Why wouldn't they? Because that's what happens with Luke.
Go back to Yoda though. Yoda said, "Did you read those books?" And he's like, So like Yoda was like, "They're just books."
Yeah. They're not page
turners. Do you know them by heart?
Verbatim.
Yeah, I don't see them pushing her as a Jedi.
I do because it's such a big part of the Star Wars lore. Jedis.
Mm-hmm.
Jedis is like a buzzword.
I think they're gonna come up with something new, like a Knights of Ren style title for whatever she decides to call herself or create.
She'll be a Jedi. She'll 100% be a Jedi. And Force Ghost Luke's Force Ghost will definitely play. Mark Hamill will not let the movie be made without him in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much pull he has with Disney anymore.
I think after this performance, they're going to be like, yeah, put him in there. People love him. He's screen tested through the roof. So,
we'll see.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely...
Needs more Joker.
They can't They need...
Too evil Luke.
Cockknocker from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, like... They'll never get rid of the Jedi. Jedi sells, man.
We'll see.
We
They
will
have
see.
like their extra movie coming out every year. Like they can throw all the Jedis they want in those.
And is this? Well, they won't. There won't be any Jedi in Han Solo.
This is gonna be the Obi-Wan movie. Be plenty of Jedi there.
Yeah, there'll be one Jedi.
That's plenty when it's Obi-Wan.
That's true. Is this the beginning of us seeing Disney drop the ball with their movie franchises that they've just acquired? Because Rogue One was like, a lot of people really liked it, but the fan base is pretty divided on that movie.
I'm
Force Awakens.
thumbs up to that.
Yeah, I
I
love that
liked
movie.
Rogue
I
One.
didn't mind Rogue One. I just didn't like that the story was already ruined for me.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to acquire the Death Star plans. Okay. They obviously got them.
But it was like a point A to point B. How do they get there?
Yeah.
Force Awakens, I feel, is kind of divided too,
Yeah.
even in this room. Like,
Sure.
what people think about it.
His prequels were always divided too.
So
Basically, just the original trilogy that's like the only like universally praised ones.
But
Well,
now we're getting
well,
so much Star Wars all the
grant-
time.
yeah,
it's
granted,
starting to
though,
slip.
The original trilogy does have its problems, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 But my point is,
I want them to cut like as much as I like Rogue One. I don't want those movies. I want just the main series ones like every 2 to 3 years. I don't need a Star Wars every single year. I want some time to stew in it and build some hype and just appreciate what's been put out.
real quick, like I was saying, because we have 2 more Star Wars movies coming out in the next 2 years, is Disney starting to slip with all the problems that Han Solo had? With
Yeah,
how
there's a
we
lot of
feel
production
coming
problems
out of
there.
Last Jedi, with how we felt about Rogue One, with a potential Obi-Wan movie coming out. Are they dropping the ball, and are we gonna have to sit through really bad Star Wars properties?
I don't know. I think they might even just run into what they're doing with Marvel. Like you're getting a little bit of samesies like going forward because there's too much content.
And they've
Too
just announced a
quickly.
new trilogy that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with it. So
Yeah.
I'm really worried about moving forward in Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm
What
glad that
happened with Battlefront 2?
I'm glad that the new trilogy at least has one director for all 3.
Yeah.
Tied to it. I think then you can make a cohesive story through
Because I
all the
think-
trilogies.
He'll make an awesome science fiction movie in this awesome universe
Yeah,
that
and
we already know.
if he's got all new characters to work with and he doesn't have to mess around with Luke's and Leia's and
Yeah.
Chewbacca's and stuff, I'm a little happier that way, I think, too.
Okay. Well, I guess the only thing then to say is for that's the end of our spoiler stuff.
Welcome back.
And the only thing that left
An hour later.
the only thing left to say then is obviously any viewers and fans, let us know what your comments are on the movie. Like
Yeah, go see it. Let us know.
go see it. Do you agree with our points after you go see it and listen in on to this discussion? Do you agree with some of the points that we've left? What do you feel are
What were your
the
favorite
hits?
moments and least favorite
what were the
moments?
hits? What were the misses in the movie?
After I watch it again,
You pro-porg or anti-porg?
they were such a minor part.
I don't know. Do they taste like chicken?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll never know.
They
We'll
look
never
like-
know.
No. They should have looked like them, though.
On my second viewing, I will be taking some notes after it,
And a
and
hope
I'll
clicker.
I'll come back and we'll do a short little like minute thing where I tell you if I think it holds up, and if my problems stood,
And did their lightsabers touch?
and if their lightsabers touch. Don't cross the streams.
We didn't really talk about that fight scene, though, with the Imperial Guards very much,
Yeah, we
but
touched
that
on it.
was
It was awesome. It was amazing.
super entertaining. Watching
We gotta.
them
Oh wait,
fight
that was a
together.
spoiler. Cut that
Yeah,
out.
we're
Sorry.
done. We're
gonna-
done.
We'll move the tag.
This
Move
is the end
tag.
of the
Sorry.
episode.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
so leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought about the movie, and with always, feel free to subscribe and watch for some more content coming pretty soon here.
And I know this was a pretty heavy one. Thanks for
Sticking with it.
sticking with it.
Yeah.
We'll be back to our regular schedule.
We might do something similar when Avengers comes out, but
Yeah.
shouldn't be quite as...
We'll do a separate, like we were gonna do. We should have done a separate one for this.
Yeah.
Next time.
Next
All right.
time.
We're learning.
Well, I think should all 3 of us say the usual Star Wars goodbye and at the same time here.
Okay, 1, 2,
2,
3.
3.
Hope. See you later.
I meant may the force be with you.
waiting for like Uta Guta Solo.